Great, thank you for this opportunity to present to you some information about our products at Bonide. Bonide's been around since 1926. We're located near Syracuse, New York, in a town called Oriskany. Like I said, we've been in business since 1926. I'm the Midwest Regional Sales Manager, and I oversee the 7 Midwest states, and I have 4 reps that work for me, and I've been with Bonide for just about 10 years. So what I want to do is go over the products that you have available from the Princeton warehouse some of these are the key items that you already probably have in your stores, and that way they're always all available from Princeton. So it makes it very easy. It's not like we're asking you to bring in something, anything like that. What I want to do today is to show you the benefits of the products and how to sell them to your customers. So that's that, and then any questions I send out, and we can take those at the end. First thing I want to talk about is something different about our products. Our labels will show you the category of what kind of product it is. So for example, if one of our products has a green label, that means it's for weed control. So anything that green, you know, it's for weeds. Red is insect control. Orange is for diseases and also for our mosquito products, which you do carry a number of. The white is what we call a combination product. This is a product that controls both insects, diseases, and mites. So it's kind of a 3-way protection and controls. That's why we call it a combo product. We have yellow, which is for repellents that keep critters from chewing up plants and getting in our backyards. We also have black label products. These are household insect control products. These are products that are used in and around the home for crawling insects and flying insects. Also, our labels will show you whether the product is natural or a chemical formulation. This product here, our Weed Beater Ultra, you see the purple shoulder there. That means it's synthetic or man-made. So that gives you this product here, you know, is a weed control product, and it's a man-made product. If it has a tan shoulder up here, this means it's a natural product and could also be one of our organic gardening products. So this is a combination product with a white label, and it's natural or organic because of the tan shoulder. Also, if you notice up here, this purple cap, beginning in 2021, we're changing over that a natural product will also have a tan cap or a tan sprayer, and that's kind of a rolling change that's going on now. Okay, how do you talk to your customers about pesticides? Right now, there's a lot of talk and misconceptions about what pesticides are and how toxic they are and things like that. So I just want to give you a little basics about pesticides in general so that you can know what to tell your customers. The first thing is that the word pesticide comes from the Latin word pestis, meaning plague. And some pesticides have been around for many, many years, like sulfur and copper, over 5,000 years. The United States EPA, as well as state EPA, does all the approvals for all pesticides. And the EPA will turn 50 this year. It started in 1970. And we are the 4th company to get an EPA registration number when the EPA started. Now, pesticides is the kind of an overarching or umbrella term for a lot that has a lot of subcategories that you really need to know as you want to help your customers figure out what they need when they come in with a problem. Insecticides kill insects, obviously. Herbicides kill plants considered to be weeds. And the reason we say that is it's not necessarily anything wrong with a plant, but we don't want it in our lawn. Say, for example, dandelions. Nobody wants dandelions in their lawn, but my grandfather came over from Greece, and my dad told me how they used to pick dandelions and cook them up for dinner. So it's not like there's anything bad about the plant. We just don't want it in our lawn. Fungicides kill disease-producing organisms. Molluscicides kill slugs and snails. Rodenticides obviously kill rodents, and arachnicides kill mites and spiders. So the overarching term of pesticide, and then you have these subcategories of the different products. The one thing I wanted to talk about, again, it's good for you to know about the toxicity of pesticides. Every pesticide on your shelf will have what's called a signal word, and they go from the most toxic to the least. And so on the top there, here you see danger, danger, poison, warning, caution, mandatory, and caution, voluntary. What caution voluntary means is you don't necessarily have to label a pesticide, but like in our case with our Captain Jack's products, which are an organic product, we still label it with a caution so people know it is a pesticide and to use it properly and according to the label. The way they determine how toxic a pesticide is they do a test population on rats. Unfortunately, they still do that. And they do what's called an LD50, which is a lethal dose 50, which lets you know how much it takes to kill half the population of rats. So that's how they do that. These signal words are not just on pesticides. They're also on household cleaners, such as your Lysol kitchen cleaner, automotive products, and paints and thinners. Your household cleaner like Lysol kitchen actually has a warning label, which is technically more toxic than most of our products that you'll have in your store. And one of the products that's still out there now that we use all the time is our washer fluid, which we're probably using a lot of right now with all this melting snow. And this has danger. So it's a skull and crossbones. So that's where it's very toxic, more toxic than any pesticide you're going to sell in your store. So first thing I want to talk about is weed control and give you a little background. Again, what I'm trying to do is just give you information to help you better serve your customers. And so the first thing you need to learn is there's basically two types of weeds. There's broadleaf weeds and grassy weeds. You see the picture here of the broadleaf weed. It almost looks like if you hold your hand out on the palm, you can see the main veins come out from the branch and fills in the broadleaf area. These can be very aggressive plants. They grow on any weak areas of your lawn. And obviously, this is kind of we always laugh about this, they put in these presentations. It's easy identified in the lawn because they do not resemble grass. I think pretty much all of us can figure that out. Some examples of broadleaf weeds that we have around here is the dandelions, ground ivy. Around here, we more like call it creeping Charlie, wild violet, and clover. These are examples of broadleaf weeds that people may come into your stores needing something to control them. We also have grassy weeds. Obviously, they look like grass. The veins run parallel. And if you know it's a grass, that gives you a good idea of what kind of chemical to recommend to control these weeds. So that way it's good to know what is what. Obviously, crabgrass, you see in that picture there. Quackgrass, which again, at this point in time, we do not have a chemical that will kill the quackgrass and not kill the lawn around it. So a lot of times you just have to use a non-selective on that quackgrass to get rid of that. But there's nutsedge and bluegrass and things like that. These are just example of some grassy weeds that your customers may have. Probably the one that will be most prominent will be crabgrass as the season goes along. So speaking of crabgrass, this product that you have out of the Princeton warehouse is our called Weed Beater Plus Crabgrass and Broadleaf Weed Killer. This is a product to recommend in the summertime when people come in, they hadn't done anything with their crabgrass in the springtime as a preventative, and they now have crabgrass in their lawn. This is what we call a post-emergent product. In other words, the crabgrass is already there. And so you need to kill it with a different type of chemical. This product not only works on crabgrass, it also works on broadleaf weeds. So when summertime comes and people come in saying they have crabgrass and they also have some dandelions, this is a very good product to recommend. Very, very easy to use. If you look at it there, it's what we call one of our ready to spray products. You just hook it up to your garden hose, shake it, and you just spot treat the weeds that you find in the lawn. So this is a nice product. We just got done talking about crabgrass and grassy weeds. Weed Beater Plus is the product to recommend for that. Now, as far as broadleaf weeds, you have a product called Weed Beater Ultra. This is a product that is so good in the springtime because it works down to 45 degrees. Whereas a lot of the other broadleaf weed killers that are out there, they don't work when you get lower than 55 degrees. This, like I said, will work down to 45 degrees. You see up here, it kills over 200 broadleaf weeds. So the label has so much on there. You have dandelions, you have clover, many, many weeds on there. So this is a great product to recommend for early in the season when people want to start getting rid of the dandelions that start popping up. As soon as things seem to warm up a little bit, the dandelions start sprouting. You normally can see results in 24 hours, and they can reseed any of those areas like in 2 weeks. So very, very strong product to recommend for early season broadleaf weed control. Later in the season, they can use the Crabgrass Plus and also take care of some of their grassy weeds at the same time. We also have the Weed Beater Ultra in what's called a power sprayer. This is a ready to use, so they don't have to mix it. The previous product was a concentrate. This is ready to use. They just shake it and they can spray. It comes already with 4 AA batteries, very heavy duty power sprayer for people that just don't want to have to use a pump sprayer. They can just go out there and spot treat their weeds. Again, like I say, everything I'm showing today is available to you out of the Princeton warehouse. So that came out a couple of years ago. Has been very popular, especially in some of our areas, like here in the suburbs of Chicago. People are less and less wanting to you mix their own chemicals. So something like this ready to use or like the ready to spray seem to be more popular in these more urban areas. You also carry our cleanup. This is our glyphosate product. When I talk about cleanup, it is a non-selective weed control product. If it is green, it will kill it. So you have to be very cautious as to where this is used. This is great to use. You see the pictures here in sidewalk, weeds coming through the sidewalks, weeds on like a patio area here. Anywhere that you want to just get rid of a weed and kill it out. You don't worry about, like obviously in the sidewalk and things like that, you don't worry about any of the areas around there. You just want to kill the weeds in that area. Or if you needed to reseed a lawn, you could kill the lawn off completely and can reseed in 7 days. The 1 quart of our cleanup is a 41% glyphosate, and this will make 21 finished gallons. So compared to the national brand, because of the price point, this is a very good price point and a lot of bang for the buck. We also have a new product that we came out with for 2021. It is a non-glyphosate product, because I'm sure all of you have seen the ads on TV with the lawyers where they're talking about, cancer causing from glyphosate, Roundup, things like that. This is an alternative to that is still synthetic and not an organic product. It's glufosinate, ammonia, and salt. It works very similar to glyphosate. It kills down to the roots. It's rain fast in a few hours, and you can reseed actually in 4 days instead of the 7 days with the cleanup or the regular cleanup. Again, this is non-selective. So if you want, you have to tell your customers you have something in an area like on the driveway, path, sidewalk, things like that. You want to get rid of the weeds. This is great to use. It should not be used in lawns because it's going to kill anything around it also. We call it high efficiency because compared to the competitive brand, our quart makes 10,500 square feet. Theirs makes 3,000, and ours is also less expensive. So it gives you a lot of bang for the buck. And it's an alternative. If someone comes into your store saying, I've seen these commercials about glyphosate, or I've read about glyphosate, I want to try something different, this is a good alternative. And it still works very quickly and very effectively. We also have this product in a power sprayer that's available for you. The 1 gallon of the ready to use will do 1,000 square feet. We give a refill concentrate as part of the package. Basically, it's buy 1 gallon, get 1 free, because you'll be able to do 2,000 square feet with this package here with the extra concentrate. So again, it's quite a value. Again, available if you wanted to bring this in for the springtime. Now we're going to move into insect control. Here's a metallic green beetle on a piece of wood there. First thing I want to talk about, insecticide I want to talk about is our 8. Our 8, we kind of joke, is our any bug, any plant insecticide. You still have to read the label, but if you can see there, it does cover over 100 different insect pests, including whiteflies. It's a contact insecticide, which means it doesn't get into the sap system of the plant. It stays on the top. And so as insects chew on the plant, they pick it up, they ingest it, and they die. It comes in several different formulations. It comes in a dust, it comes concentrate, it comes ready to use, and it's labeled for fruits and vegetables, roses, flowers. It can even be used on lawns in the granular formulation, trees and shrubs. Very, very broad label. So it's kind of the product. If someone comes in saying, I got some aphids on my roses, you can recommend that to them. Very easy to use it, and they're ready to use, and they can just shake it and spray it. So this is a man-made product. You can see the tan shoulder, the purple shoulder there. The next product is our Captain Jack's Dead Bug Brew. This is a product that's for organic gardening. It's the active ingredient is spinosad, which was, don't ask me how, but they found this fermenting in rum barrels in the Caribbean years ago. It's a natural insecticide. Again, a very broad label, similar to our 8. It can be used on fruit, vegetables, ornamental shrubs, and more. So you may have some people coming into your store saying, I really want to control insects on my plants, but I want something that's organic or natural. So obviously Captain Jack's is for organic gardening. So this gives you another option for your customer. The thing about this, when you talk to any of the organic products with your customers, ours and others, excuse me, you need to let them know that these products take a little longer to work. Spinosad is actually like a stomach poison. And once an insect feeds on it, they stop feeding. They basically feel sick, kind of like us. You don't feel well, you go lay down on the couch. They just stay in the plant, don't really move much. It may take 3 to 5 days for Captain Jacks to kill the insect. It will kill them. It's just going to kill them slower. So you need to let your customers know that you want to go organic. That's perfect. It will take a little bit longer for the product to work. We have a product called Annual Tree and Shrub. This is a drench product that we use this obviously on trees. It is a season-long control, and especially important right now, it kills borers, including the emerald ash borer, Asian longhorn beetle, and spotted lanternfly, which is coming this way from the east. We figure it's going to probably be in the Illinois area probably in the next couple of years. People may still have the emerald ash borer product going on around here, or they may just want to protect their trees. This would be the product to recommend. It's a drench, very easy to use. But you, there again, you as the person in the store need to be able to show your customer how to use this product. It's very simple, but you need to train them on it. They need to take the circumference of their tree. So in this case, it's 29 inches. And you apply 1 ounce per inch of circumference to that tree, and you mix it with 1 to 2 gallons of water. You apply at the root flare, which is right here at the base of the tree. If you were standing up and looked down at your shoes, that's what the root flare is of the tree. It's right there at the base. We do not want it applied at the drip line because too much of it would get absorbed by the turf and other plants out that way. It has to be at the root flare. And it uptakes right away into the tree. And it, again, we don't apply it at the drip line. Very easy to use. It can be applied either in the spring or in the fall. Ideally, the fall is the best time because then it has all winter to come up through the plant and get absorbed by the tree, and it's ready to be protected when the season starts. You sell this to your customers. You also can have an add-on sale with a sprinkling can. So again, it's very easy to use, and it's just you just need to explain to your customer how to use it. Diatomaceous earth, again, you're going to have people come into your stores looking for organic or natural crawling insect control products. This is actually fossilized sea creatures, for lack of a better term. And it's a mechanical mode of action. What this is it's sharp pieces of these fossilized sea creatures. And what that does is that insects, as say ants walk through this, when people apply it outside, it cuts up the ectoskeleton. Insects have their skeleton on the outside of the body, whereas ours is inside. It breaks that ectoskeleton down and they begin to dehydrate and they die. A lot of people like to use this for slugs and snails around their plants, ants, earwigs, basically any kind of crawling insect that they don't want coming into their house, they can use this on. Again, a lot of people, rather than using other products, a lot of people like to use this for their slugs and snails. So again, and it works pretty quickly, even though it's natural, because as they walk through it, they cut up their ectoskeleton and they dry up and die. Now we're going to talk a little bit about disease control. In general, with disease control, it's always best if you can have your customers do prevention on this rather than trying to solve it once it's there. A lot of times if someone comes in with a product or with a plant with already damage to it, it may not be able to be reversed that season unless they catch it early in the year. So if people have disease issues one year, recommend that early the next year they treat to prevent that happening. Here's some examples. You may have people come into your stores. I don't know if they do it so much at hardware stores. When I worked in a garden center, people would come in with little baggies of either insects or diseased plants. Here are some examples that people may bring in: black spot on rose, powdery mildew on lilac, rust on roses, dogwood, anthracnose. These are just examples of some of the plants people may have some issues with the disease. We also have it on edible plants, early blight and late blight on tomato. That can be a big problem. Apple scab, especially, we have this a lot on our crab apples in this area. Like I probably forgot to mention, I live in Palatine, I live in the Chicago area, so I'm used to what some of the issues are in this area. And of course, peach leaf curl, which was a pretty bad problem in the Midwest. It's kind of dropped down a little bit now, but these are ones that are examples of diseases that we get on edible plants. Now, if someone comes in with a problem with the disease, we have a couple alternatives. Here we have what's a man-made one called Funganil. This active ingredient is actually Dacana, which has been around for many, many, many years. This is kind of an all-purpose fungicide. It can be used on roses, flowers, and vegetables. Of course, you always want to check the label and find out what is on there and what's not. It's water-based and it's odorless, and it's what's called a contact fungicide. What that means is you spray the plant and the leaf, and then if a spore from a disease lands on that leaf, it can't get started. The fungicide keeps it from getting into that plant and causing the damage that it normally would. So Funganil, that active, like I said, has been around for many, many years, extremely popular. Again, it's a man-made product. We also have Infuse, and you have it in a ready-to-spray product. This product, if someone comes in and says they've had apple scab on their crabapple tree, they'll come in maybe in July, early August with the curled up brown leaves. This would be the product to recommend that they actually use the next spring, because by the time they come in with all those damaged leaves, it's really pretty much too late to reverse it that year. They could treat it so it doesn't get any worse, but it's not going to reverse the damage that's already there. This can only be used on non-edible plants and trees because it's a systemic disease control. That means it gets into the sap system of the plant. Again, people come in with that problem with the crabapple, with the apple scab and crabapples. Definitely is good to recommend. Can be used on roses, peonies, lilacs. Again, very effective, and it is a man-made product. Now, you're going to have people come in, especially if they do any research on the internet, looking for copper. Copper, again, is one of these pesticides, been around for 5,000 years. This is a natural product. You can see there on the side there for organic gardening. Again, it's labeled for vegetables, fruits, flowers, peach leaf curl. This product here, the quart ready to use, you shake it, you spray the plant, and it works the same way as a contact. It keeps the spores of the disease from adhering onto the plant and starting to damage the plant. So you're going to have people coming in looking for copper because they're looking for a organic alternative when it comes to their protecting their plants. We also have, again, this product called sulfur, which has been around, like I said earlier, for 5,000 years. Some people still like to dust their plants with sulfur for the diseases. Again, fruits and vegetables. It is 90% sulfur, and it can actually be used for controlling chiggers. If people get chiggers like in a wooded area, this can be put down in that area, and basically what it does is just burns the chigger and gets rid of its ectoskeleton, and it dries up and dies. Now we're going to go through some combination products that both do insects, diseases, and mites. The first one is fruit tree spray. This product has been around for many, many, many years. I usually say it's been around forever. This has malathion, captan, and carbaryl as the active ingredients. It's, again, very easy to use. It only comes in a concentrate. The only issue with this product, it works very, very well, but the EPA is basically slowly but surely cutting back on the carbaryl, what it can be used on. So now it can be used on less and less fruits, trees than it has in the past. And every year, it seems like that label gets smaller, and the number of times that it can be applied gets less and less. So it's still a great product, but the label is getting to be much smaller and can use it on less and less. Because of that, a few years ago, we came out with a new product called Fruit Tree and Plant Guard. Again, it comes in your warehouse and ready to spray, hook it to the garden hose. It's all newer technology. It is all technology that's used in the orchards. It has a lambda-cyhalothrin for insect control. We joke that lambda-cyhalothrin has never met a bug it couldn't kill. It also has two different fungicides in here. And the first one here I want to bring out is pyraclostrobin. What's nice about this is that people don't always spray both the top and bottom of the plant and the leaves and things like that. So what they can do with this product, when they spray it, if it gets on top of the leaf, the pyraclostrobin gets on there. It's a systemic fungicide. It has translaminar ability. It moves through the entire leaf to protect the bottom of that. So even if they only apply it to the top, it controls it all the way through the bottom. Now, a few years ago, downy mildew on impatiens was a real problem in this area. It's not as much as anymore, but this is one of the few products that is labeled to control downy mildew on impatiens. It will suppress it. It will not correct it once it's there, but if they start applying it early on their impatiens, it'll take care of those issues. Another combo product is our all seasons oil. Now, beginning like in March or so, people may come into your store looking for a dormant oil spray. Maybe they had scale last year on a plant or other insects, and they want to do a treatment now during the dormant phase to get rid of the eggs or any larvae that may have overwintered. You can recommend the concentrate here, and depending on the plant, it could be up to 7 ounces per gallon of water, and they can use this as a dormant oil spray. And the only thing with that is they want to do that when the temperature is preferably in the 40s, and it's going to have enough time to dry before the temperature goes below freezing. So that concentrate, the people may start coming in a little while here looking for a dormant oil spray. You can recommend that. You also have it in the ready to spray and the ready to use. This can be used all season long, just like it says, on fruits, vegetables, roses, flowers. Very effective. Again, it's for organic gardening. Use this on your roses. It not only controls the insects and diseases, with a little bit of that oil, it makes the leaves very shiny. Some garden centers put this on all their roses just to make them look that much better for selling the product, the plants. So again, very versatile product, and you may be getting some calls for the dormant oil spray here early in the season. Another combination product is neem oil. I don't know if you've already had this problem, not problem, but happen in your store. Neem oil has suddenly become, in the last couple of years, the insecticide of choice of people on the internet. It controls insects, diseases, and mites. It's for organic gardening. And we, quite honestly, cannot keep enough in stock. We are doing a good job of it now, but we had distributors, and maybe even you guys, ask for entire truckloads of neem oil. It has gotten to be so popular with people as they do research on the internet. So it's one of those things, you may have people coming in, if they haven't already, looking for neem oil. The neem oil is a naturally producing product. It comes from the neem trees in India. And the only problem with that is that since it's a crop, there's only so much available at a time. So right now we're good. We've been packaging our neem products. We hope with the demand, we'll have enough throughout the season. We're worried, like every other vendor or manufacturer, that the supply of neem oil is going to run out for 2021, but we're hoping that we can get through the season. But again, if you haven't been asked about neem oil, be prepared. You're going to have someone come in that department and ask for neem oil. Bonide is also made with neem oil. The difference is we put a little bit of pyrethrin in there. And what that does is it works a little bit quicker than with just the neem by itself. Neem is just like all of the organic products like Captain Jack's. It takes a little bit longer. By adding the pyrethrin with the neem, you get the quicker knockdown and you get the benefits of long-term control of the neem. So that's the only difference between those two products. Now, some mosquito products that you carry, and it's hard to think about mosquito season with all the snow we still on the ground, but we have a wide variety of mosquito products. These are what our man-made products here. We have the yard fogger. Go out an hour or so in the evening before you're gonna have a bonfire or cookout. You fog the area, you knock down the insects. You wanna do it later in the day because you don't wanna kill any beneficial insects such as pollinators like bees. Same thing like with the mosquito beater ready to spray. This is permethrin. You can spray the lawn, you can spray the bushes. Again, it's best to do it later in the day, right before your activity, to knock them down beforehand. We also have a group of natural products. Mosquito beater, which is one of your keywords. Mosquito beater is a granular product. It's several different types of natural ingredients: cedar, lemongrass, garlic, citronella oils. It kind of smells like potpourri when you put it down. And what the granules do, it basically masks our human scent so they can't smell us anymore, and they can't find us. So it comes in that size. That'll do about 4,000 square feet. It lasts up to 3 weeks. Again, all this is based on depending on the weather and how much moisture. We also have mosquito beater ready to spray. Same active ingredients. If you'd rather not put granules out, you can put this, spray everything with this. It just leaves that pleasant odor behind. And the granules, again, are biodegradable. Once they get into the soil, when they break down, it's people and pets safe. Your kids go out and play right away. We also have mosquito beater larvicide. Excuse me. This will work if someone has like a koi pond in their yard or rain barrels, and it doesn't harm any animals at all. You can put it in there. It just kills the larva, so you don't have that problem with the standing water and the mosquitoes breeding in the rain barrels or in your koi pond and things like that. Again, it's just it's a natural product called BT. So we have the the synthetic products for mosquitoes. We also have the natural. Moving to the repellents section, how repellents work. I'm sure you're going to have people coming in saying they have critters, rabbits or whatever, eating their plants, things like that. How does a repellent work? It works by taste, it works by smell, and it irritates their eyes or their nose. So what a repellent does is you want to modify the pest behavior. You want to basically scare the squirrel out of your yard, a rabbit out of your yard, so it doesn't cause damage to your plants. And the thing about using repellents effectively, you need to reapply them periodically because as the plant grows, there'll be unprotected areas. And you want to alternate the repellents so that they don't get used to it. If you only use our Repelzol and don't rotate it with something else, the animals eventually will get used to it and it won't be effective. First one I want to talk about is our Go Away Deer and Rabbit Repellent. This is basically a hot pepper spray. What's nice about this is this could be applied to fruits, vegetables. If squirrels are eating someone's tomatoes or their grapes or whatever, it can be applied right on those edibles and can be washed off and can be eaten right away up to the day of harvest. It can be applied. This is the only product out there that does that it can be washed off and people can eat the fruit right away. We also have our Repelzol. This does it by taste, smell, and irritation. The thing with Repelzol, it's a great product, but if once you spray it on something, that taste and smell will never wash off. So you can't use this on edibles, but you can use it on any other plant you want to protect it. Again, it's made with natural ingredients, fish oil, egg whites, garlic, and clover. It's also in a granular formulation. You put it around areas you want to protect, a vegetable garden, ornamental bed that critters are getting into and feeding on. It'll last about 2 months under ideal conditions. Again, all natural. You shake it around that area and it protects the area from the critters coming in. Mouse Magic. This is a product that came out about 10 years ago. It is basically peppermint and spearmint oil in a little package, almost looks like a tea bag. What it does is it makes the mouse want to leave the area. It's escape or avoidance behavior. This product is used for small areas. It's great for protecting sheds, for boats, campers, RVs, classic cars, farm equipment that's stored, things like that. People store their classic cars. They used to use mothballs in it. Of course, that leaves that wonderful smell behind. This does not. It has that pleasant odor of peppermint and spearmint. It basically just irritates the mouse, so it wants to leave the area. And it's great for people who don't want to have a dead mouse from either a snap trap or rodenticide in their garage or their storage shed, things like that. It just chases them away naturally. Been a very popular product the last few years. We also have a product called Rat Magic, which also controls a lot more than rats. It does squirrels, ground squirrels. You put this around the perimeter of a home to keep the critters from getting in the home. Or if you had in an ornamental bed, you had chipmunks, for example, chewing up and digging holes in your ornamental beds. If they come in, people come in with that problem, they can sprinkle this through the ornamental bed. It will not harm the plants. It'll keep the squirrels and chipmunks from being in there and digging things up. A couple things here on mold control. There's difference between moles and voles. We don't have as many moles around here as we do the voles, but we do have some. They're carnivorous. They eat earthworms. They're very territorial, 2 to 3 for 10,000 square feet. They have 2 types of tunnels, a feeding and living tunnels. So that's what a mole does, and that's what a mole looks like. It does not cause this kind of damage where it eats the bark on a tree. A vole, for example, is a little different because they feed on plants, barks and roots. They feed on flower bulbs, and they are very prolific. You can see here, this is like a nesting area of them. And then this is what you get from one group in the springtime. You get a large population very quickly. What you'll see with these, and we may have a problem with these this year, is they travel in runways. So they may be underneath our snow piles right now, and you'll basically have brown lines in the people's turf when they come in the springtime. And that's been where they've gone back and forth to feed over the winter underneath our snow cover. And so that's where they would want to put this product down to prevent that from happening anymore in the spring and the summer. And what MoleMax does, it comes in granular and a spray. It basically repels them using castor oil. Now, this is a product, again, you as being in the store need to help your customers know how to use this. They need to apply this in 4 stages. do a quarter of the yard each day for 4 straight days. So in other words, you start by the house, do 1/4 of the yard, then you do the next quarter the next day, and so on through the 4 days. If it's not going to rain, we recommend they water the product in, it dissolves, it gets down there. As the moles run through it or the voles run through it, they pick it up. As they groom themselves, they ingest it, they feel sick, and they leave the area. The reason we say do it in stages is because we want them to have basically an out. Don't want them to get confused and not have an escape route. So that's why you do it in stages. We also have the sonic spikes. I know a few years ago, Lou Manfredini was talking about these. It basically just makes a funny chatter sound periodically. I joke that it must be like run away for moles and voles, things like that. You carry the solar unit, it will charge up even in tall grass, and it'll do about 7,500 square feet of protection from the moles. So household product you have is one I want to bring up quickly is our new product. It's called our invisible roach bait that you brought into the warehouse. This is cutting edge technology. It's right from the pest control industry. It's a new active ingredient. And so what it does is that it will kill roaches for 2 years. It'll last. The other products you currently carry, the gels will last about 3 months, have to be taken off and reapplied. This will last for 2 years. And it comes in this puffer, moves in all directions, very, very easy to use. It also kills 15 other household pests. So that's what's exciting about it too. You'll see here on this label here, on the left here, you have ants, box elder bugs, lots of different other insects, silverfish. So this we're really excited about because of the new actives and things like that. And so this is going to be a product as people come in looking for roaches. This would be what to recommend. They're going to get 2 years of control. It's easier to apply than the gels, and you have to reapply it every 3 months. You got a 2-year protection. We also came out new for 2021 with a product called House Guard. This is an 18-month control product with deltamethrin. A lot of competitive products are about 12 months. So we have it in the ready to use. We also have it in the foam. And this is nice for people because if they have problems with roaches, say, underneath sinks and things like that, they can put it right in cracks and crevices with the foam. It expands and it protects that entire area, or into a wall void around the pipes. It'll expand, it'll protect that area. Very, very new technology again, and it comes in the ready-to-use gallon and the aerosol foam. Other products you do carry is our ant killer dust. It's made with deltamethrin. This will last for about 8 months, can be used indoors and outdoors. If it gets wet, it'll still work. So even if you use it outside and some big ant mounds, if it gets wet, once it dries, it'll go back to killing the ants. We also have our killer granules, which have lambda-cyhalothrin as the active. This can be sprinkled on the outside of the building, takes care of ants, fleas, ticks, and a lot more insects than that. You can put it as a barrier around the home to keep those insects from getting in your home. We also have our ant baits. You cut off the top of this little container. It has boric acid. So if someone wants something to bring inside the house and just want to put it out and not have to worry about applying dust and things like that, they put this out, the ants come and feed on it. They bring the insecticide back to the nest and it kills the entire colony. And it will also work on carpenter ants. That is it. I think I made it within the time frame. I know there'll be plenty of questions, hopefully. There's my information, my phone number, and my email address. Again, like I said, I live in Palatine, so I'm at the Mutual Ace here in Palatine all the time. I'm in the area. We also have a rep that covers Northern Illinois called, his name is Gary Graber. If you ever had any questions or want us to come in and do anything with your staff to help train them or anything like that, we're more than happy to do that now that things are loosening up a little bit with the pandemic. But again, take down my information. Feel free to contact me and whatever issues you might have.
Thank you, Nick, so much. We do have a few questions. First question, which I think you answer on the next slide, but does Weed Beater Ultra come in ready-to-use container?
Weed Beater Ultra does. It does come in ready to use. It does come in ready to spray, but at this time, it's not in the Princeton warehouse. Okay. So I don't know if you could talk to somebody about getting into the warehouse. That is one of our most popular products in the Midwest, just because of the fact that it could be used down to such a low temperature. But I mean, right now it's only in the concentrate in the warehouse.
Okay. Does the cleanup product with the glyphosate affect roots of neighboring shrubs and trees?
Technically, it would if it got into the. I mean, it'd have to be an awful lot, but it would kill them also. And the other thing about this is that if you get it with any drift or any blowing and it gets on another plant, it will also kill that plant. It's non-selective. So when people use that, they got to be sure they use it on a preferably early in the morning or late in the day when it's not too windy, because otherwise you will get drift onto the other plants and it will kill them.
Okay, and then what is the other 15% of the diatomaceous earth product? It says 85% diatomaceous.
It's just a like a talc powder, just to help it move a little bit. Yeah, but okay. It's all natural, so it's still considered a natural product.
Okay, and then is information provided today on the slides contained on the product containers and labels?
Yes, our labels. You open up the back of that; it's got the little booklet. All this information is in there. The plants it can be used on, the insects it'll control, the diseases it'll control. It's all there on the back of the back label. Like I said, it's a little booklet. Also, we're hoping in the next month or so that we'll be finishing up our update of our website, which is going to be very consumer friendly, and all labels and SDS sheets are also be available on the website if a store wanted to download a label to read.
Okay.
A little bigger print on the back of the bottle.
Yeah. They asked if you could provide a hard copy of the presentation that they could use at their service desk, or maybe you could do a digital one that they could print.
Sure. If they wanted to get this from me, I could just send it to them.
Yeah, if you want to send it to me, Nick, I can post it here in the presentation. Yeah. Next question, is there a book or any kind of POP that shows different diseases on plants to help customers identify their issues?
Good question. We have what's called a problem solver book. And if a store would like that, they could shoot me an email. We could get those out to them. It's probably, I don't know, 40, 50 pages. And it has pictures of different diseases, insects, all the different things that people might have questions about. It comes with a hole in it already. You can hang it in your area with the plant care products. We also have charts that show different weeds, that show different diseases, that show different insects that can also be put into your department and hung for people to take a look at. So yeah, if they wanted to contact me, I could always forward their information to Gary if he's going to be closer to them. But yeah, we'd be glad to get that kind of material out to you, especially hopefully spring will be coming soon.
Okay, and then I'm just repeating a question that someone already answered, but they asked, the different labels mean a difference in man-made versus natural.
Yes,
so just reminding everyone.
The shoulder, if the shoulder on the label in the upper right is purple, that means it's man-made or synthetic. If it's tan, it means it's natural, and it might be for organic gardening. There's some products are natural, some are for organic gardening, and it all depends on the actives if they're approved for organic gardening. That makes the difference as to how we can label the products. But yeah, anything tan is natural. Anything purple is man-made.
Okay. I don't see any other questions, so thank you, Nick. If you could send me that presentation, I will put it here in the chat for everyone to download.
Okay.
And just so everybody knows, let's thank Nick again silently, but I'm going to put everybody in a waiting room here, and then we'll bring you back in when the next presenter is ready. Nick, thank you again so much. We appreciate your time.
All right, everyone, we're going to start off today talking about our most important category for Scott's, and that's going to be the role of fertilizer. So as you can see on the screen here, the role of NPK and what that plays into the importance of fertilizer is N stands for nitrogen. And what nitrogen does is that's your top growth on fertilizer, so that's what greens up the grass. The P is phosphorus. Now, almost all of your fertilizers are phosphorus free. The starter fertilizers are nowadays the only fertilizers that have phosphorus in them. But what the phosphorus does do is that helps with root growth. And so when you're planting grass seed, you definitely want to put a bag of starter with that in order to help the roots get stimulated and start to grow. The K stands for potassium, and kind of what that is an all-around agent. So that also helps against diseases to protect the grass. So the way to think about this is NPK up, down, and then all around is the easiest way to remember those three numbers. And when you look at the slide on the bottom right-hand corner, it shows you where you can find the NPK on each bag, and the NPK on every bag is different. It depends on the season. It depends on what is actually in the bag as far as the crabgrass preventer, as far as the weed preventer. That also dictates what NPK needs to be inside the bag. So what separates Scotts from the competition? What makes our fertilizer, a lot of people say more expensive, which it is, and then also what makes it better is the all-in-one particle. All of our Scotts products are an all-in-one particle fertilizer. And what that means is every particle size is the same, and then all particles have the NPK in every single particle. And so that way you get an even coverage throughout your yard, where when you're looking at other brands of fertilizer, even the ACE brand, it's called a simple mix. Now with the simple mix, nowadays, most of the fertilizers, the pellets are the same size nowadays. The difference is the NPK is just inside the bag. And so therefore, you don't get the even coverage throughout your lawn. And then also with the Scotts brand, every fertilizer that we offer has a 8-week feeding time, where all the simple mixes last roughly 6 weeks. Most of the simple mixes get broken down by rain. And so the more rain you have during that time period, the less length it's going to work for. So it may not work exactly for 6 weeks. If you get heavy rains earlier in the first 2 weeks of that time period, it may only last 4 weeks, where the Scotts brand is broken down by the soil. So you're guaranteed to get that 8 weeks every single time. So for you guys, the STEP program, the difference between this and the Scotts Turf Builder line that Home Depot carries, obviously you guys carry that too, but you guys are the only ones that carry the STEP program, is the NPK is different. And you can see on there the 21-22-4 for the starter, the 28-07 on the step 1, the 28-03, and so on. Those numbers are different than what you would see on the Turf Builder product. So when you have customers that come in and they do want to price match Home Depot on their annual program, their annual program is on the Turf Builder, and those products are two totally separate products just based on the NPK. Now, as far as the length, yes, they both last 8 weeks, and yes, all the particles are the only one particle, and they are all the same size. So as far as that goes, that's the similarity. There's also the difference in price that both of you guys offer. For the Turf Builder line, you got the crabgrass preventer with halts. Now for this one here, if you're going to plant grass, you cannot plant any grass seed for 4 months once you apply this product. The crabgrass preventer that gets put down, it creates a barrier and does not allow any of the new grass to grow at all. So you want to make sure if you see a customer that has a bag of grass seed and a bag of halts, step 1, you could call it crabgrass preventer, you could call it inside the bag. You want to make sure that the customer is not putting it in the same area. They could put it, one on the front lawn, one on the back lawn, or, just make sure that they don't put it down at all. They just won't have any success with that grass seed, and they'll be very upset because they're wasting their money. Now, as far as this goes, same thing applies where this is an all-in-one particle. The feeding does last for 8 weeks, which is 2 months. And again, no grass seed for 4 months. Scotts Triple Action. What this product does is it kills weeds, it prevents crabgrass, and it feeds. So that's where you get the triple action from. Now, it does have the crabgrass preventer in there. So again, you cannot put any grass seed down for 4 months. This is the same thing where it's an all-in-one particle. This one's a little bit different as far as how you want to apply it to your lawn. You want to apply this to a wet lawn because you want the particles to attach to the weeds. And then after 24 hours, you want to wash that in. So you want to make sure that it gets some type of water, some type of rain. So then the crabgrass barrier can start to begin to work. Now this product, along with the halts, is most effective up until the early stages of crabgrass. So you're looking at like a 2 or 3 leaf stage. So it's very early in the process. Once you get past 2 or 3 leaves, you know, this product's not going to be effective on the crabgrass, but it still will be effective with the weeds, and it still will feed. The Ace All-in-One, this is exclusive to you guys. The difference between this and the Scott's Triple Action is this is a killer. So this will kill crabgrass. Now again, it's in the early stages, so very early 2 to 3 leaf stage. Last year I was under the impression that you could pretty much use this any time of the year and that it would work on the crabgrass, but we come to find out that it's in the early stages, so 2 to 3 leaf stage as far as the killing portion. As far as how to apply this, it's very similar to Triple Action. You want to apply it to the damp lawn. You want the particles to stick to the different weeds, and then, you know, water in it after about 24 hours. The Scott's Turf Builder Weed and Feed. So with this product here, when you apply this, you cannot apply any grass seed down for 2 months. So this is 2 months where the crabgrass is 4 months. Also, this is almost like a sawdust in a way, where this gets down to even further into the lawn as far as different weeds, as far as when you're talking about chickweed and clover and things like that. With it being sawdust, it's not the all-in-one particle where it's circular, it's more like sawdust, so it gets down to all this different weeds. You still have to apply it the same, where you have to apply it to a damp lawn so the fertilizer pellets can attach to the weeds. And again, no grass seed for 2 months on this particular product. Scott's GrubX. So for this product here, you typically want to apply this sometime early June, end of May, and you'll get a 4-month coverage with this product. The easiest way to tell if you do have grubs is have the customer just totally pick up the piece of grass. Have them go out there and just pick it up. And if they can pick it up, then that means there's no roots. And if there's no roots, then that means that they have grubs. And that's the easiest way to tell. For grass seed, our trade-up strategy with Scott's, when you're looking at the first products, is patching products. So you have your Scott's Patch Master, which has been around for a very long time. And then you have Easy Seed, which has been around for roughly about 10 years. The difference between the two is with the Scott's Easy Seed, it comes out light brown. And once you water it, it turns dark brown. And it also has like a coconut core that allows you to absorb the moisture, where the Patch Master, it's made out of recycled newspaper. And so that doesn't retain the moisture. And so that's why the Easy Seed is a little more effective than the Patch Master. There's people that do love the Patch Master, tried and true. They've been using that product forever, and it is very effective. It's just not as effective as the Easy Seed. In the middle there, this is for overseeding. So you got your Turf Builder grass seed, and then you have our new product Rapid Grass, and I'll touch on both of those in a couple slides. And then thicker. You can see by the picture, people do have grass, but it's just not very thick, and so that's where the thicker comes in, and we'll talk about that in a couple slides. So back to the Easy Seed. So when you apply this product, you want to apply it about, I would say about 1/4 inch thick, very light. The coverage on this is roughly, I want to say about 80 square feet. When you get to the 10-pound bag, you're looking at about 225 square feet. So it doesn't go very far. So again, you want to use this on dirt spots throughout the lawn. You want to rake it up a little bit to move that soil, and then just apply it about 1/4 inch thick. When you apply it, it comes out light brown. Once you apply some water, then it turns dark brown. Now, you pretty much only have to use water once a day because you have the luxury of the dew in the morning. And so when you wake up, typically it'll be about the size of an anthill, more than likely. And you'll see it, it's dark brown. And then usually about midday, you want to go outside and water. And then towards the end of the day, you can put some water down or just allow the dew to do work towards the end of the day. So thicker, again, this is for those lawns that have existing grass and they just want to thicken it up. So there is also gypsum in this product that allows the soil to be improved. There's fertilizer in it, and then there's also seed. The fertilizer is, again, the starter fertilizer, and so that will help with the root growth because, again, like I touched on earlier, almost all of the fertilizers do not have phosphorus in them other than the starter fertilizers and these particular grass seeds that are coated. The Scott's Classic grass seed. This is just pure grass seed. There is no coating on this product, so it is just pure seed in the bag, and this is something that only you guys carry at ACE. Rapid Grass. This is our new product for this year. The difference between the Scott's Classic and the Scott's Rapid Grass is it's similar as far as it's pure grass seed. Now, the difference is this has nitrogen in the bag, and that's what allows it to grow faster. That's what allows it to become rapid. So normally it takes anywhere from 28 to 35 days to get a full lawn when you're applying grass seed. With this particular product, you're going to get a full lawn within 21 days. And that fits into what people want nowadays. Everybody wants it faster. And so that's what this product will provide to the customer. Again, it's the nitrogen in the bag that allows it to grow faster. It's not coated. So that's the similarity between this and the classic grass seed, to where it's just pure grass seed inside the bag. And then this is a picture of the different results, and you'll see, you know, what you get after 10 and 14, and then by 21, like I touched on, you'll see a full lawn. The Scott's Turf Builder grass seed. Now, the difference between the classic, the rapid, and the Turf Builder line, the Turf Builder line is coated, and it has different coatings on there. It's coated by the starter fertilizer. It has a protected against over and under watering, and then it also has a protectant on there against diseases. And so it is a coated seed, but there is also pure grass seed in the bag. It's just every seed is coated, and then that allows you to give even coverage throughout the lawn. And with having the starter fertilizer on the seed, it also kind of gives it that almost insurance in a way to allow it to make sure that it is going to grow. Now, with any of these grass seeds that we touched on, you definitely want to put starter fertilizer down, again, because that has phosphorus in it. That will aid in the growth of the grass, and that will also aid in the roots growing for the grass. As I just touched on, so this is the 4-in-1 coating. It's the disease protectant. It keeps it moist, and it has the starter fertilizer, and it's our best seed. So this is a package change for this year. This product's been around for quite some time, and it's changed in various ways. I want to say probably about 5 or 6 years ago, it took on the light blue packaging that you see at the top, the starter plus the weed preventer. Now this year, we are just rebranding it under Triple Action for seeding. It is exactly the same as the Step 1 for seeding. It's just under the Triple Action brand. It does exactly the same. And this product does take care of crabgrass, and then this product also does take care of weeds. But again, you can apply this product with grass seed. That is exactly what it's designed to do. And the difference between this and like the regular crabgrass product is that this can differentiate between what a weed seed is and also what a new seed is, where the crabgrass preventer does not. It does not tell the difference between what a crabgrass or a weed seed is and what a new seed is. So whenever you see a customer with a bag of grass seed, it's ideal to get them into this. They're going to come in asking, you know, how do I put down grass seed, and also how do I kill my weeds? And this is the perfect product for that. This is also a starter fertilizer that we carry. Now, the difference between this and the Triple Action for seeding is this is just a straight fertilizer. So this does have phosphorus in the bag, which allows the roots to grow again, but it does not have a weed killer in it, and it does not have a crabgrass preventer in this product. It is just a straight fertilizer for seeding. Lawn soil. Anytime anybody's putting any type of grass seed down, you always want to offer them a bag of lawn soil. You want to make sure that the customer rakes up that area as best they can to loosen up the soil, and then you apply the bag of lawn soil. Now, what makes lawn soil great is it has starter fertilizer in the bag. That allows, again, to help that grass seed get off to a good start. The more starter fertilizer, the better. It's just going to help the customer, give them a better chance of having success. We began with Weed Clear. So this year we've gone through a packaging change with this product. Weed Begon's been around for quite some time. The reason for the change is we haven't seen any growth in Weed Begon in over 10 years, and we just continue to drop the price down on this product time and time again, and you guys aren't making any money on it. We're not making any money on it. And so we went to the Weed Clear. Now, for the first time, we're actually going to have advertising behind this product, which should allow you guys to see a lot of customers come in asking about this product. Also, with the Weed Clear, it is 100% identical to Weed Begon. There is no change to the product. So if somebody comes in asking, you know, what's this new Weed Clear? What's the differences between this and Weed Begon? There are zero changes in the product. I just want to make sure that that is clear. The only thing that's different is the packaging change, the name change, and then also that we're actually going to do some national advertising behind this product. Here's your good, better, best scenario. This is good for selling to the customer. So you have your yellow cap. This basically takes care of 250 weeds, and people associate this with killing dandelions. The better is your crabgrass preventer. That's the difference between the yellow cap and the orange cap. The orange cap does the crabgrass preventer, and then you have your best, which is your Roundup for Lawns. Now, Roundup for Lawns takes it one step further, so it does everything the first two does, and then it takes a couple steps further where it does nutsedge, and then it also does Creeping Charlie, which a lot of customers have a lot of issues with. They'll come in asking for that specific product. Do you have the Creeping Charlie killer, which is an ortho product that we have. It's an ortho concentrate, and it's specifically for chickweed and clover. But Roundup for Lawns also does this. Now, there's a lot of concern around Roundup over the last couple of years. This year, because of everything that happened, the concerns around Roundup, went away. In this particular product, this is basically one of two Roundup products that does not have glyphosate in it. So it's not a Roundup question, it's a chemical question, and the chemical that a lot of people are concerned with is glyphosate. And there were a lot of separate chemicals, and we'll touch on those in a little bit, that actually had glyphosate in it that got removed in the last year. So again, this Roundup for Lawns is one of two Roundup products that does not have glyphosate in it, in case the customers have that question. So we're into Ortho Ground Clear. So up on the top left, you got the OMRI certified ground clear. This came out roughly about 2 or 3 years ago. This you can use in a vegetable garden. There is no glyphosate in this product, and it does not leave a residual. So you can replant within a day. So it will kill whatever it touches, and then it will leave the soil within a day, and you can replant. That's why it's OMRI certified. The one on the bottom left, this is new for this year, the Super Ground Clear. This one here will kill weeds to the root. The best part about this product is that within 7 days, you can replant grass seed. That is huge. So you can still use it on your patios. You can still use it around landscapes. You can still use it in the driveway. You can use it underneath fences. Now, it is a weed and grass killer. It's recommended if people are starting a new lawn to apply this product, and that will kill everything. But again, within 7 days, they could put sod down, they could put seed down. So it's a very good benefit to remember that they can replant grass seed within 7 days. Up on the top right, you got the year-long vegetation killer for ground clear. It is a red label. So we went through a packaging change last year. Originally, this was a yellow label, and some of you still may have the yellow label in the store. The yellow label contains glyphosate. Everybody assumed glyphosate was associated with Roundup because of all the lawsuits. But we did have glyphosate in our yellow label ground clear. We moved through that as best as possible. Now we're on to the red label ground clear. And that's how you tell the difference between if it does or doesn't have glyphosate, is based on the label. The red label, it lasts for 365. And so whatever it touches, it kills. It leaves a residual for the whole year. So you cannot replant for a full year, and make sure the customer understands that. I've made that mistake where I did it underneath a fence. I knew it was going to last a year. I just didn't like the look of it after I did it. And I wish I could have replanted, but because I used that product, I had to wait a full season before I could replant grass. Where now with the super weed and grass killer, I could replant within 7 days. Essentially, I could test it out and see if I like the look. And if I don't like the look, within a week, I replant grass. So this is how to differentiate Roundup and Ortho. So the Roundup line on the left, you got the white bottle that you can replant within 3 days. Then in the middle, you have the extended control, which you can replant grass within 4 months. So it's similar to the crabgrass preventer where it does last 4 months, it leaves a residual. And then you have the Roundup 365. So again, whatever that touches, it is going to kill, and you cannot replant within a year. Then you have the Omri ground clear that I touched on. Again, you can replant within 24 hours. The super ground clear, you can replant within 7 days. And then the red label ground clear is 1 year. And those are very important things to remember. Now, the Roundup does have glyphosate in it. It still does. The Ortho brand, we removed the glyphosate out of the products like I touched on. And also, it's not like if a customer comes in asking for a non-glyphosate product or a non-Roundup product, a lot of people just say, I don't want Roundup. It's not like you're selling a knockoff product. Ortho is the #2 brand in the category, so it is a very powerful brand. A lot of people do come in asking for Ortho, so you can, be happy selling them a very good alternative to Roundup. Roundup still is the best. There's no question about that. What it does, it just can't be duplicated. The indoor home defense. So we have the white bottle home defense. What this does is you can use this inside the home and you can use this outside the home. The way the residual works outside the home is the more rain you get, the less the barrier works. Outside, it's typically supposed to work for 4 months. The more rain or even snow for that case, it breaks that barrier down. But inside the home, you get 12-month coverage, and works for ants and spiders and roaches and things like that. So this is a very effective product. All your promotions are built around this product for the indoor category. As far as the indoor home defense, the gray bottle, we came out with this last year. 100% transparency. This is almost 100% the same exact product as the white bottle. Even though it says indoor, you can use this product outside. The only difference is this dries 30% faster than the white bottle. And then you're asking, well, why did you come out with this product if it does exactly almost the same thing? Well, because we were finding about 60% of the customers were using the white bottle exclusively outside. And so we wanted to give that customer the peace of mind with the indoor label on it that they could use it inside and feel safe using it around their kids and pets. And so that's the biggest reason why. The Scott's Naturescape. So this year we came out with a packaging change on mulch. So you have the 3 different colors like we always did. It's still in the 2CF. The best thing about this bag is that it calls out the locally made. And that's what your customers like to attach themselves to, is they like locally made products. That's why they come to you guys, because you guys are locally owned. And so they believe in that. And so this year we came up with this new packaging. So you'll only see it in the 2CF. For those of you that got the 1.5 CF, that will not be available this year, which is great news. So that will alleviate a lot of confusion. So a couple other things I wanted to touch on that I did not put in the presentation. So the foundation soil. So the idea behind the foundation, it's very simple. And this product, it's as easy as just looking at the bag and reading what the bag says to the customer, that it boosts water and nutrient retention, reduces soil compaction, and then it also provides an environment for microbial growth. And so that's exactly what the foundation does. There is no difference, as far as, there's nothing hidden, I should say, excuse me. There's nothing hidden about it. Exactly what it says on the front of the packaging is exactly how you sell that product. And most of these products that we do offer, the easiest thing to do is to just flip over the back of the bag. It gives you the spreader settings. It tells you how to exactly apply it, when to apply it, what the product's going to do. So if you do have any questions along those lines, it's the easiest thing is just to flip over the back of the bag, and just read it to the customer, because as you know, the customers don't read, and it's very simply spelled out on the back of the bag. And then one other thing I wanted to touch on is the Scott's Training Institute. So next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so that's March 2nd, March 3rd, March 4th, from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock each day is the Scott's Training Institute. Now on the 2nd, it's going to talk about the different products for the home, as far as what takes care of ants, what takes care of rodents, what takes care of moles, things like that. And then the next day is lawns, and that's probably the most important of the three, because that's what you're going to be dealing with right away. It's going to talk about grass seed, it's going to talk about fertilizer, and it's going to go into a lot greater depth and a lot more products than what I did today. And then also then you have the gardens, and the gardens, you know, pertains more to April and May, you know, usually the last week of April, and then into May. That's going to touch on your different soils. That's going to touch on your plant foods. It'll touch on mulch. And so that'll be a great one also. Other than that, Adam, do you have any questions?
Yeah, we do have questions. You have to give that password too, by the way.
Oh, I have to say it out?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. So triple action is the password. Sorry.
That's okay. So triple action, everybody. I'm going to go with the last question first, since you just talked about it. People are wondering how to sign up for the Scott's Training Institute.
So I sent something out to the people that I write the orders with. So it's, you know, various people, and it explains how to get to the ACE website, because ACE does give you guys credit for this. Is there an easier way, Adam? Should I just email that to you, and can you send that out to the group, or should I email that to Keith?
Yeah.
Or because I have, you know,
email
basically I have like 90 emails, and so it just goes to those people, and then I'm relying on them to send it down to the stores.
Sure. If you send it to me, I can put it here in the chat for everybody.
Okay, because there's two different, it explains like how you as the manager to sign yourself up, and then how to sign your associates up.
Okay. Thank you. So first question, after applying seed, how long before mowers can go over it without damage?
So roughly you want to wait about 6 weeks. You want to give it 2 to 3 mowings before, or excuse me, 6 weeks from the time that you plant. And then after that, then you can mow the lawn.
Thank you. Will root systems be deeper with traditional seed versus rapid grass?
Yes. As far as your turf builder line, yes, because it's coated with starter fertilizer, where the rapid grass doesn't have starter fertilizer in it. So yes.
Okay. And what is the risk with applying starter fertilizer if the seed mix already contains starter fertilizer?
There is no risk. It's just an added benefit. The amount of starter fertilizer that's on the turf builder seed that's coated on there is very small. It just gives it a little jump start, but you definitely want to add more starter fertilizer to it because it has a higher concentrate of phosphorus in it. And then it also has a higher concentrate of nitrogen to allow it to green up faster.
Okay, and then in the same token, what seed is recommended with the lawn soil since it already has starter fertilizer?
It just depends on the customer's preference. You got your classic grass seed, which there's people that like just knowing that it's pure grass seed in the bag. They don't want any coating on it. They feel like, you know, basically they're not getting all the seed they want, but it is harder to grow just traditional seed without any coating on it. It's kind of like if you're a professional at growing seed, I would recommend the classic because it's just pure grass seed. If you're an amateur, like most homeowners are when they're starting out and they don't, you know, pay particular attention to their lawn as much as they should, then you want to give them that extra insurance with the turf builder line.
Okay, and then someone said, what did the up, down, all around mean in regards to NPK?
So again, your nitrogen does your top growth. So that's the up, that's what greens the grass. So that's your top growth. And then the down is the phosphorus, and that's your root growth. So that's where the down comes from. And then the third number, the potassium, is an all around because it's a protectant. It protects against diseases and things like that. So that's where you get the up, down, all around.
Then I have a follow-up question on products that have 0% phosphorus for areas that are restricted. Are there other chemicals in there that help with root growth aside from phosphorus?
No, it's strictly phosphorus. Now there is the straight fertilizer, which is the green bag that you can use with grass seed. There's just no phosphorus in it. So there really is no point to use it. And then also you have another product called Green Max, and that product again has no phosphorus in it, but you can use that with grass seed.
Okay.
Anything that has a weed preventer, an insect control, a crabgrass preventer, anything that's outside of a regular straight fertilizer, you cannot use with grass seed.
Okay, and then someone just asked, what's the difference between Green Max and the basic green bag?
The difference is, so there's iron in the Green Max, so it's similar to ironite in that way, but there's more iron in it than ironite, and it gives it that darker, deepening green within 3 days.
Okay, and then, so just to add on your question, does GrubX affect grass seed?
No, GrubX does not.
Okay. All right, and then
if you're talking about, sorry to interrupt you. So if you're putting down, let's say, a chemical like the new Weed Clear, that does, yes. If you put Weed Clear down, you cannot put any grass seed down for 6 weeks.
Okay. And then someone asks, can you talk about the eco scraps a little bit?
Yeah, so basically the difference between that and Malargonite, it's an alternative. I mean, we're not going to compete with Malargonite. Malargonite is the name brand. It is what every customer, wants when they come in. It's just a supplement when you run out. The difference between that and Malargonite is it comes from Boston as opposed to Milwaukee. And then the other difference is it's run through the machine one more time to take the materials out. So when it's going through the pipes, it collects iron and other metals as it's going through. And so we just clean it one more time than Malargonite. So that's the difference between them.
Does that affect smell too?
What's that?
Does the extra filters affect smell?
That honestly, I do not know. So I don't want to say yes or no.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, a couple more questions here. Are people able to apply grass seed before using crabgrass and weed killer granules? If so, how long should they wait between applications?
So with the crabgrass preventer, once you apply that, so whether you put the grass seed down before or whether you put it down after the crabgrass, it is 4 months. So when customers come in the door, you have to ask a lot of different questions, because a lot of people come in and they want to do both. They want, to plant seed and they want to take care of their crabgrass. That's where the triple action comes in. But the best time to seed, as a general rule of thumb, is the spring and the fall because of the cooler temperatures. And then also you typically have 4 months in between those time periods. So if people want to take care of just their crabgrass, you have to make sure that they're not seeding until the fall, till roughly Labor Day is a good rule of thumb. And if people are okay with, either using the starter, if they don't want to use the starter, then they have to go with strictly the grass seed. And then they could use, either the straight fertilizer or, they could use the starter fertilizer. Now with the step 2, with the weed preventer, that is a 2-month. So let's say you put down grass seed in March, you cannot put that weed preventer down until May. So you got to give it 2 months. So if you do it March 1, then May 1. Now, if let's say you put it down in April, then you got to wait till June. It's always 2 months. It doesn't matter if you put it on before or, during. It's a 2-month residual that it leaves and won't allow that new grass to grow.
Okay. So if the grass seed is fully mature, you still have to wait the 4-month or the 2-month period?
So, and that's where I kind of misunderstood earlier. So you want to wait about 2 or 3 mowings. So you want to wait roughly about 6 weeks before you would, start doing that to give it time to grow. Then once it gets to about 6 weeks out, then you can apply, the weed preventer or something else. Somewhere between 6 to 8 weeks from the time you apply it.
Okay. What is the best product for thistles?
For thistles, oh gosh, what is that product called? We have a specific product, and I want to say it's such a rare product that most stores don't carry. I want to say it's within the nutsedge product, that it also takes care of nutsedge and thistle, I believe. I'll have to get back to you on that to get you a 100% answer, but I believe it's in the nutsedge product. A lot of people, it's just not something that a lot of people ask about, but I will definitely get back to you on that and let you know. I'll have it by 2:00.
Okay. What does the OMRI listing mean for the ground clear weed and grass killer with the green label?
So with the OMRI listing, what that means is it's organic. And the reason why they consider it organic is because you can use it within vegetable gardens. And also the difference between that and the Roundup version, glyphosate is not organic. So you could use essentially the white bottle Roundup in a vegetable garden, and it would leave the residual for 3 days. And then you can, plant whatever you want. It's just not organically certified because of the chemical of glyphosate in it, in Roundup.
Okay. And someone asked what a basic spiel is to inform the customer in 1 minute or less with all these products. So I was just going to say that it's not really a 1 minute conversation.
No, you just got to ask questions as far as, do they want to seed? Do they want to fertilize? Are they trying to do both? And then you have to, find their needs. And obviously, most people want to do everything at once. And so for that customer, you got the triple action for seeding and you got the grass seed. Kind of a one-time shot for a customer that's not seeding is your regular triple action. That's what that product is specifically for the people that want to maintain a good lawn. That's where the 4-step comes in, because that's where you're going to get your tried and true results, and your best results is if you do the continuous feeding every 2 months. So that's why we have the 4-step. Again, if it's just a customer that comes in, wants to do a one-time shot, and they're pretty much done, which is what, I would say probably maybe half the customers want, I would recommend the triple action. And then again, if they want to seed, then you go with the triple action for seeding with the bag of grass seed.
Thank you, everybody, and thanks for having us today. My name is Mark Arlotta. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Jonathan Green. With me today is Tim McCarthy, who's our area sales rep for the Windy City ACE Group, and also Keith Hamlin from Phase 3. I'm not quite sure he's on yet, but he may be, and he's with us as well. Today, we're going to talk to you about Jonathan Green and the product lines that you'll be selling, and in particular, the Jonathan Green difference. Why buy Jonathan Green over other products? So we're going to talk about that in depth today. Whether you like it or not, this is the lawn fertilizer and grass seed category today. It's every single company racing to the bottom to be the cheapest priced on fertilizer and grass seed. And at Jonathan Green, we pose the question, why? Why is it necessary to be the cheapest price all of the time? As a matter of fact, at Jonathan Green, we deem ourselves at the 93 octane at the fertilizer and grass seed pump because we care only about quality lawns. Pencil pushers are never going to be loyal to the independent trade class. And quite frankly, that's only who Jonathan Green sells and services. We only sell independent hardware stores, farm and fleets, and garden centers with only the top quality products to give you the lawn that you've always desired. Our philosophy is quite simple, yet we feel the rest of the industry misses it. Poor seed, bargain basement seed, and doing nothing about the soil on your turf. And I'm not talking about adding soil to your lawn. I'm talking about working with the existing subsoil that you have, the existing soil that the lawn is growing in, making it better. And if you don't do that, you're always going to get, no matter how much fertilizer you use, a poor looking lawn. Conversely, at Jonathan Green, we believe that superior grass seed from the very start and augmenting the subsoil that you have will yield that lawn that you've always desired. And as a matter of fact, our mantra here at Jonathan Green is improve your seed, improve your soil, improve your lawn. And if there's one takeaway from this class that you remember, it's this right here. Start with great grass seed, augment that existing soil that you've already got, correct it, and we'll show you how to do it, and you'll improve your lawn. And I want to thank everybody at the Windy City Ace stores for allowing so many consumers in the Chicago market to discover the Jonathan Green difference on their lawns today. So let's talk about Lawns 101. And when we talk about just general lawn care, we're going to talk about grass seed, lawn fertilizer or lawn food, and weed control. Starting with grass seed first, and this is really Jonathan Green's baby. Black Beauty is our grass seed brand, and it's the only independent-only grass seed brand in the United States. Now, the original genetic research done on Black Beauty was done back in the 1990s by my alma mater, Rutgers University. And the original parent plants of Black Beauty the first parent was in an oasis in the Sahara Desert. It was a tall fescue that was surviving in the heat of the Sahara. And also, the second parent plant was found in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan in very, very cold climates. Well, they crossbred those two plants. And through genetic research over the last 20 years, we've come up with a phenomenal line of beautiful looking turf grasses that are unmatched by our competitors. And why is Black Beauty so different than all other turf grasses? Well, first off, most grasses root only 6 inches to 9 inches down into the soil, while Black Beauty roots up to 4 feet deep. That's the reason why it was surviving in such heat in the Sahara, because those roots hunted down deep for more water. In addition to that, if you look very closely on the leaf, you'll see a waxy leaf coating on it, which is very, very similar to an apple skin. And what that does is it locks in moisture. So when it gets hot, it doesn't evaporate moisture through the leaf. So between less evaporation and greater holding power in the roots, you have an incredibly drought and disease tolerant plant that will match any lawn that's out there. It has a rich dark green color. And we have sod growers, leading sod growers, I might add, from Maine all the way out to California growing it. And there are several in the Chicago market right now that grow Black Beauty. Here's a 15-second clip that we're going to share with the Windy City stores, and we're also going to be putting on YouTube ourselves.
No grass seed rivals Jonathan Green's Black Beauty. Its invisible waxy coating preserves moisture during extreme heat, and its roots grow 4 feet deep, making it incredibly drought tolerant. Insist on Black Beauty from Jonathan Green.
Always start off with a superior seed variety. Your lawn will only be as good as the grass seed it grows from.
No grass.
So now we're going to talk about fertilizer and weed control. And for some people who may be new to the category, we're going to talk about the micronutrients of fertilizer. Any bag or box of fertilizer that you pick up, whether it's a bag of lawn food or even a box of plant food, it's going to have 3 numbers on the bag. And it's the NP and K analysis. Now, what does NP and K mean? Well, these 3 numbers stand for nitrogen, or letters stand for nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. They are the most important elements for turfgrass plants and plants in general. And you could very, very easily remember this fertilizer formula as up, down, and all around. If you remember that, you'll understand with all of these nutrients mean. So let's talk about nitrogen first. It's the most important element found in turfgrass fertilizer, and it's the first number on that 3-number formulation. Nitrogen is known as the up, down, all around, because it's what you see up above the ground. It's what greens the plant and feeds the leaves, that nice green color. That's why you call it the up element. Most nitrogen in fertilizers feed for 2 months. Hence the reason why you're selling a 4-step program, because after 2 months, the nitrogen or the plant food is completely used up by the plant, and it's time to put down the next step. Phosphorus, now up, down, all around, down. What do you think of down when you're thinking of plants? Well, of course, the down element means roots, right? And you're only going to use phosphorus 1 time, and that's whenever you're seeding or sodding. The plant seed does not have a root yet, and it needs to imbibe the phosphorus to help it build one. Also, if you're putting sod down on a lawn, that sod has been greatly stressed. It's been cut right underneath the root on the sod farm, and it needs to regenerate its root system. And that's why you use usually a starter fertilizer. That middle number you'll see in a starter fertilizer is very high because it has a lot of phosphorus. That's what it's for. In most turfgrass fertilizers, other than starters, you'll likely see no phosphorus in them, because phosphorus, there's a lot of phosphorus in the soil right now, but unfortunately, because so many soils are afoul and they're not chemically and biologically correct, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, that phosphorus never releases to the plant, and it's found its way into groundwater. And that's the reason why most states have taken phosphorus out of existing turfgrass plant fertilizers. Potassium is the all-around vitamin pill for the plant. You'll find potassium very, very high in fall fertilizers because potassium helps the plant ward off disease. When it goes dormant in the wintertime, it's going to face a lot of cold climate like we're having right now. And basically, phosphorus is going to prevent the plant from diseasing because it helps build strong cell walls that ward off disease and winter stress. So when we talk about weed control in the lawn, there are 2 different kinds of weeds, and the way they're treated are completely different. You have grassy weeds and broadleaf weeds, and I'm going to explain each and how to control them right now. Grassy weeds are exactly that. They're ugly, ugly plants that are light green in color, and they have seed heads but no visible flower. Crabgrass is probably the one that you hear most about. They're annual in nature, meaning when the frost comes, they're going to die. But during the summertime, they spit out seeds into your lawn, and those are the seeds that are going to germinate this spring if you don't control crabgrass early. And you usually do that by using a preventative treatment known as a pre-emergent. People rush into your store in March and April before it starts to get real warm, and they put down step 1 or a pre-emergent, because that's typically how crabgrass is controlled and other grassy weeds as well. You want to prevent those seeds that are in your lawn by the thousands from germinating. Pre-emergent controls, as I just stated, are applied in the early spring. Now, if crabgrass germinates, if you're a little bit too late with your pre-emergent and that crabgrass ever so slightly penetrates the soil, penetrates the barrier, then you're going to be stuck, because you're going to have to go out and buy some spray in the summertime when it's in full bloom and spray it out. Now, broadleaf weeds differ than grassy weeds because, well, just look at them. Broadleaf weeds have a long taproot that you have to kill, which grassy weeds don't have. And they also have a very pronounced flower. The yellow dandelion, the white clover are typical broadleaf weeds. They are perennial in nature, and broadleaf weeds are controlled, unlike grassy weeds, after they grow. You're not going to prevent broadleaf weeds, for the most part, from happening on your lawn. They're already there. So what you want to do is later in the spring, when they're in full bloom and the dandelions start popping, you're going to apply a weed and feed in the late spring, early summer, and some people even do it in the fall. Remember always, when you're using a weed and feed, to wet the lawn first and make sure there's no water for 48 hours following, because if there is, then you're going to knock the herbicide off the leaf and render it ineffective. By allowing no sprinklers on your lawn for 48 hours or making sure that there's no rain in the forecast for 48 hours, that herbicide is going to absorb through the leaf and all the way down, translocating into the taproot to kill the weed for good. Now we're going to get to the part that nobody seems to focus on, and that's the soil. Everybody is just selling fertilizer, but they're doing nothing for the soil, the existing subsoil underneath, to make that turfgrass plant perform optimally. And when we talk about soil health, we're talking mainly about two factors, pH and compaction. So what is pH? Well, pH stands for potential hydrogen. pH is measured, and you may remember this from high school or college, it's measured on a pH scale. The scale ranges from 0 to 14. pH less than 7 is acidic, and that's what the Chicagoland market has. Most of the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the entire East Coast, including the Southeast, have acidic soils. And there's reasons why. I'm going to show you why in just a moment. You don't have to worry about this, but I'm going to tell you it anyway. pH above 7 is alkaline or basic. So if you were working at an ACE store in the Rocky Mountains or out on the West Coast, you'd be dealing with alkaline soils, high pH. pH right in the middle, that neutral 7, is perfect for the plant. It's also pure water. Lawns thrive in soils that have a slightly acidic to slightly alkaline range, which we call the neutral range. And you can see exactly that on this chart right here. That neutral range, as I just said, is between 6.2 and 7.2. That's where you want your soil. If you don't, you look to the left of that blue box, you'll see light green turf, weedy turf, because that's exactly what happens when your pH is wrong. So here's an interesting statement for all of you. You sell a lot of fertilizer. 20 to 70% of your lawn food is wasted when soil pH is too low. Now, this is on our Magical products, which I'm going to talk about momentarily, which address pH. But this study doesn't come from Jonathan Green. As a matter of fact, it comes from Cornell University, one of the leading turfgrass universities in the United States. And one of the things that Cornell points out is exactly this. You'll notice that 6.2 to 7.2 range that I just showed you on that chart. Well, look at nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, N, P, and K, which we just talked about, those vital nutrients that are so important to healthy turfgrass growth. Look what happens when you go to the left of that sweet spot, which I call the blue box. You'll notice how nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium become insoluble to plants. In fact, the availability dips significantly. In addition to pH, soil compaction is a big problem. You stomp your foot on your soil. You can't put a screwdriver really deep down into it. You know you've got compacted soil, and it's a big, big problem in our industry. It causes nutrient runoff because those nutrients can't get deep down into the root zone, and they end up filtering away into groundwater, which again is one of the reasons why phosphorus and even nitrogen in some communities are being greatly limited in fertilizer. Now, we have a product called Magical Plus that solves all this. It's a black bag. It's a soil food for acidic soils, which the Chicagoland market is abundant with. And also it has a proprietary gypsum formula that loosens even the hardest soils very quickly. It also contains iron humates and biochar. Why are they good? Is because they feed the bacteria in the soil that break down all of those fertilizers that you're putting down so they don't leach. It could be used any time of the year with any fertilizer, any four-step program, any grass seed, all on the same day. As I said, it's compatible with any lawn and garden product. And the cool thing about our Magical Plus is it comes not only in a 5,000 square foot bag, which is a smaller bag of fertilizer, but also for some of the larger markets in Chicago, the 15,000 square foot bags are needed. And we have a 15M Magical Plus as well. Now, take this away from the class, and we're going to merchandise the product in the Windy City stores exactly this way this year. Think of Magical Plus as the primer for the paint. The paint, of course, in this scenario is lawn fertilizer, and of course, the primer is Magical Plus. You wouldn't use paint without a primer. You shouldn't put a lawn food down unless you have a proper soil food or soil amendment to go down with it. Here's a 15-second commercial that we're going to give Windy City, and we're going to be putting it on YouTube as well.
Ever wonder why your lawn still has weeds and looks bad, even though you feed it year after year? The problem isn't your lawn, it's your soil. Improve your soil, improve your lawn with Magical Plus by Jonathan Green.
So those two takeaways: start with superior grass seed, augment that soil, because that fertilizer is not going to work if you don't correct the pH and loosen that compaction. You'll be wasting your money. Now,
Ever wonder?
I'm extremely excited to show this to the Windy City Ace team. This is you're the first group to ever see this. We're coming out with a Jonathan Green Training Academy, which all of you can watch on your leisure time next month. Now, there's 8 snippets that talk about various different topics of lawn care. And one of them, of course, is correcting acidic soil. And here's what it's all about right now. I'm going to show it to you. And again, you'll be able to watch this formally amid all of the other topics next month when the Training Academy is formally unveiled to everyone.
Why should you care about acidic soil? Well, let's demonstrate with some visuals. This lawn has a healthy, neutral pH, but this lawn has acidic soil. Yikes! Lawns grow best in soil pH that's between 6.2 and 7.0. Soil becomes acidic when too many hydrogen ions throw off the pH balance. Here are 4 reasons why it could happen to you. First, excessive rainfall. Heavy rains flush alkaline elements out of the soil, leaving room for acidic elements to take their place. Second, organic matter. Decaying leaves, stems, and manures break down into natural acids that lower soil pH. Third, fertilizers. Traditional fertilizers used by homeowners and farmers are high in nitrogen and break down into acidic compounds. Fourth, acid rain. This occurs when carbon dioxide in the atmosphere mixes with normal rainwater, and you guessed it, one-way ticket to acid town. When soils become too acidic, grass struggles and weeds thrive. Toxic materials build up, and key nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium can't dissolve in the soil water, so then the roots can't drink them up. Bye-bye nutrients. Hello, lawn troubles. Let's look at nitrogen. When soil pH drops, the good bacteria in soil stops functioning, and it can't munch on that sweet, sweet nitrogen. Same with phosphorus. In acidic soil, phosphorus bonds with iron and aluminum, becoming insoluble. In very acidic soil, aluminum can become toxic to plants. So what can you do to stop it? Jonathan Green has 2 specific products for the job. Magical for lawns and acidic soils contains 35% fast-acting calcium carbonate in a water-soluble form that rapidly raises and balances soil pH. Magical Plus for lawns in acidic and hard soils quickly raises soil pH. Plus, it loosens hard soil to increase root penetration, biological activity, and nutrient absorption. Both Magical and Magical Plus are super concentrated. In fact, one 5,000 square foot bag is equal to 5 bags of regular lime, and a 15,000 square foot bag is equal to 15 bags of regular lime. You'll spend less time pushing the spreader for half the price. Kick acid to the curb with Jonathan Green.
I hope you all enjoyed that video. And again, we're so excited to be releasing this academy, and there's going to be additional topics, as I stated, very important ones for great lawn care, unveiled next month. And Tim McCarthy and Keith Hamlin will let you know when it goes live. Now, you may have seen Black Beauty and Magical Plus, our two differentiators and our keys to great looking lawns, on Fox and Friends last May. This aired to 3 million people. And I'll tell you, the traffic on our website was incredible. But it's Skip Bedell, who is also the spokesperson for Eco Lawnmowers. I believe you sell those as well. Also as a spokesperson for Jonathan Green. And here's what he said when he talked about Black Beauty and Magical Plus on Fox last May.
Well, the good news is weather is warming up, so it's time to get your lawn ready for summer. Here with tips, home contractor Skip Bedell. Skip, as we look out at our lawns, we're spending a lot of time at home. The good news is, while everybody doesn't have a perfect lawn, every lawn is fixable.
That's right. And Steve, this is the perfect time of year to seed your lawn. And it's really not that complicated to have a great looking lawn like this. There's really just two steps you need to be concerned with. So number one is having the right grass seed. See, this is my favorite seed. This is Jonathan Green's Black Beauty. This is a premium seed that's used by sod growers across the country. And the reason why they use this as opposed to other types of seed is that if you look at the grass seed, the leaves have a very waxy coating, almost like the skin on an apple. Very different from other seed. And what that does, it retains the moisture and allows this grass to be very drought tolerant. So you can grow it even in low water situations. And the roots get down really deep. So if you look over in this box, most grass seeds, the roots go down 6 to 9 inches. With this particular grass seed from Black Beauty from Jonathan Green, the roots grow down up to 4 feet deep, Steve. So that means it's going to be drought tolerant. Yeah. It's unbelievable. And so you can see how nice and rich and dark green this is. Now, the other key to having a great lawn, Steve, in addition to the seed, is you got to have the proper soil conditions. So most people have very hard, acidic, compact soil. This is really important. And this is my other tip, the big key. You want to have soil food, not just grass food, but soil food. So this product, the Magical Plus, it actually conditions your soil. It loosens it up. And it makes hard soil loose, allowing the air and water to get down. And it also corrects the pH. So you get a nice dark green lawn instead of light green with weeds. So 2 very important things, the proper seed and the proper food for your soil. Another nice thing about this seed is that it comes in many different varieties. So you have seed for sunny, for shade, sun and shade, even heavy traffic. So the beauty of this grass seed from Jonathan Green is they have a seed for every condition, no matter what your yard has. You're going to have a perfect looking lawn every time with this stuff. It's unbelievable.
So now we're going to talk about head-to-head comparison between the Jonathan Green fertilizers that you're selling and our competition. Now, I do want to say when I state this that Scott's company has some very fine fertilizers. There's no doubt about it. But there are some key differences that you need to understand between our fertilizers and theirs. And I think that when consumers ask you the proverbial question, well, what's the difference between these two products? You certainly need to be equipped with that information. So let's take a look at, well, a product that most people are going to be putting down in probably another month or so. And that's the crabgrass preventers. Remember those grassy weeds that I talked about, the ones that you want to prevent before they grow? Well, there are 2 pre-emergents that Scotts uses to do that. One of them is step 1, which is also part of a 4-step program. And the other one is an individual bag of Turf Builder with halts. Now, both of these products are identical in formula, and they contain the exact same ingredient to prevent crabgrass. It's known as pendimethalin. And it's not important that you know what pendimethalin is, but it is important that you know that it's only a pre-emergent, meaning that you have to put it down early for it to prevent crabgrass for the season. If you're a little bit late to the dance, maybe you come into the store in late April, early May, you've been traveling, and that crabgrass has ever so slightly germinated. You won't even see it yet, and you put your halts down, you're not going to be able to control it because it's only a pre-emergent. Jonathan Green uses a totally different chemical. It's called Dimension, which is a pre and post emergent for crabgrass. So it prevents, just like halts for the entire season, But if you are late, even up to mid-May to late May in Chicago, you can apply our Green Up with Crabgrass Preventer because it also is a post-emergent for crabgrass, meaning crabgrass can germinate, emerge 3 leaves, and you will still kill the plant. Crabgrass is a 7-leaf plant, so you will control crabgrass up to about half its leaf life cycle, and you'll get an extra 4 weeks to sell our product versus competitors. Also, if you've ever looked in your store around a pendimethalin display, a step 1 display, sometimes you'll see a little yellow bleed through the bag or maybe a little yellow on your tile floor. Well, it's extremely difficult to get out. In some cases, it doesn't come out. It's because it stains yellow. That's the color of the chemical. Dimension, however, is clear. It does not stain. You can get it on your walkway, patio, and driveway and never have a problem. Also, the turf builder with halts in step 1 feeds for 3 months, and feeds for 2 months, and Jonathan Green feeds for 3. So now we're going into late spring. And in the late spring, as the weather gets warmer, as I said to you earlier, with broadleaf weeds, you start seeing them pop. The yellow dandelions and the white clovers will be all over your lawn. Well, the step 2 in the turf builder weed and feed kills 67 weeds. The Jonathan Green Green Up weed and feed, however, kills over 250 broadleaf weeds, about 3.5 times more than our competition. Also, the Scott's fertilizers feed for 2 months, and the Green Up weed and feed feeds for 3. And as I stated to all of you earlier, please remember this. When it comes to weed and feeds, granular weed and feeds, make sure you tell the customer that there can't be any water after they put the product down for up to 48 hours. And you do want to wet the lawn beforehand, either going out early in the morning when there's a dew on the ground or watering your lawn before you put it down so the particle sticks to the leaf, absorbs through it to kill the taproot. In the fall, many people use fall fertilizers. Our competitor has step 4 or Turf Builder Winter Guard, and the formulation, up, down, and all around, is a 32-0-10. They use a lot of nitrogen in the fall and not as much potassium, which is really what you want when it comes to fall lawn foods. The winter survival fall fertilizer formulation, as you can see, is a 10-0-20. There's a lot of potash in it, so the lawn doesn't disease over the winter. The problem when you're feeding with too much nitrogen in the fall is that you tend to get diseases like snow mold and red thread in the spring. And it happens only because you feed with too much nitrogen in the fall. You're encouraging the plant to grow into the wintertime by putting down too much nitrogen. And it's something you do not want to do. You actually want to encourage dormancy. So the plant reserves its nitrogen and doesn't use it all, and then uses what's ever left next spring. Again, when you blast it with nitrogen in the fall, you're going to get snow mold and red thread, which are nitrogen-borne diseases. Now, you're selling a product called Foundation. It is advertised by Ace. It's on the bottom right-hand portion of this screen in a green circle. Now, you'll notice that it's a $24.99 price. It is a soil improver, which augments the 4-step program on the upper left. So how does Foundation compare to Magical Plus? Well, Foundation doesn't do anything to adjust soil pH. There's no calcium carbonate in it for acidic soils. There's no sulfur in it for alkaline soils. It doesn't do anything to loosen soil long term. In fact, it has adipolgite clay in it. Adipolgite clay is a soil moistener, not a soil loosener. The only thing that really loosens soil is dihydrate gypsum at a very, very high concentrate. It's also available only in a 5M size. So if you wanted a 15M, you'd have to buy 3 bags at $75 to try and tackle your soil. And what's new in 2021? What's going to be new on your shelf from Jonathan Green? Well, this is going to be a really neat product, guys and gals. And if we're able to do this, if COVID is behind us, we're going to sod the entire Fox studio on 6th Avenue in Manhattan with this item in front of you now. It's called Black Beauty with Solar Green, super heat tolerant, not Kentucky bluegrass, but Texas bluegrass. Texas bluegrass, what is it? It looks a lot like Kentucky bluegrass. In fact, it's pretty much identical. But Kentucky bluegrass, and Jonathan Green grows a lot of Kentucky bluegrasses too, they tend to disease in the summertime. They need a lot of fertilizer and a lot of water and a lot of maintenance. Texas bluegrass, on the other hand, is native to our country. It's native to Texas, where Kentucky blue actually came from Europe, if you go back far enough. And it can withstand temperatures of up to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. So what we're doing now is we're taking Black Beauty, which you already know is heat and drought tolerant, and we're mixing it with Solar Green Texas blue, again, which can survive incredibly hot temperatures and doesn't need the fertilizer, the water, the maintenance that its Kentucky blue counterpart does. And together, by mixing both, you will have the best heat and drought tolerant mix on the market today. It's been a stunning success so far in the preseason orders. So if somebody really has hot climate, their lawn has been killed in the summertime in the past because of hot and humid temperatures, this will be your go-to product. And as you'll see on the bag, Texas blue just doesn't grow in Texas. Kentucky blue doesn't just grow in Kentucky. In fact, Texas bluegrass grows across the country. And this is really going to change the game for our southern markets. The southern markets usually plant Bermuda grasses and St. Augustine grasses. They don't really use seed. Well, now in Southern California and Northern Texas, they certainly could. The other great item, Black Beauty branded, is seed roll. Now, there's a lot of biodegradable grass seed mats out there to patch up stubborn bare spots on lawns, but none of them are impregnated with Black Beauty. In fact, this item has Black Beauty Ultra, our best grass seed for sun and shade and starter fertilizer. Also, no other company has the registered trademark brand Seed Roll. That's exactly what it is. It's a roll impregnated with seed, starter fertilizer, and a biodegradable mulch. And within about 10 to 14 days, you'll see grass germinate in even the most stubborn bare spots. So we've got a lot of promotions with the Windy City Ace Group this year, and you need to know what they are. And I'm going to quickly go through them with you, and you'll notice that the promotions that we have are synonymous. They're right in sync with our differentiators, superior grass seed and superior soil. The first one is our Green Up Crabgrass Preventer. It will be in the circular, will be in digital format as well, going from March 16th to March 29th. We're going to have a special promo at $17.99 on a 5M, $46.99 on a 15M, which is a great consumer savings. In fact, it's $5 on a 5M and $8 off our regular price on a 15M for a superior crabgrass control product. Now, as we go into April, from the 6th to the 12th for 1 week, we're going to do this 1-2 punch, the primer with the paint, right? The crabgrass preventer at $17.99, which is the same price you saw on the previous slide. And if you buy that crabgrass preventer from April 6th to April 12th, you'll also get the soil food, the primer, for half price. Nobody in the Chicago market is going to have this sweet a deal on Jonathan Green products. This is for the 15M. It'll be $46.99 on the 15M and $29.99 for a 15M Magical Plus. Incredible savings, incredible price. Drive the primer with the paint. As we move into late spring, May 4th through May 17th on this ad, you're going to see that our Green Up Weed and Feed, controlling 250 broadleaf weeds, is going to retail at the Windy City stores for $17.99. And once again, the primer with the paint, you're going to be able to sell the 5M Magical at half price, $14.99, if you buy the fertilizer along with it. And on the 15M, once again, $46.99 on the Weed and Feed 15M and $29.99 for the Magical Plus to go along with it. Our Black Beauty grass seeds, all of our 3-pound seeds from April 6th through April 12th, just like our crabgrass preventer promotion dates, and May 5th through May 17th, just like our Weed and Feed Magical Plus promotion dates, you're going to be able to buy our 3-pound Black Beauties, including the new Solar Green product up on the upper right-hand corner for $11.99. Fantastic savings for the consumer. So that is basically our training, what's going on with our promotions with Chicagoland, the differences between Jonathan Green and our competitors with grass seed and soil amendment products, and of course, a new training academy, which will be available to all of you to watch at any time next month. I'm just about, I guess, on time with the training to answer any questions that anybody might have. So I guess
Thank you, Mark.
I'll open it up for that.
Do you have that password?
Do I have the password? I believe I do.
Okay. Or I could just tell them.
Yeah, why don't you just read them
Yep,
to me?
that's fine. No problem. It's Magical. Password for this morning is Magical. So we do have some questions. First question is, does Magical Plus stand a chance when it's dry and prolonged drought period? Seems compaction is directly related to lack of water.
Well, compaction is related to lack of water, but there's also a lot of other reasons for compaction as well, especially heavy foot traffic on lawns. Even areas of the Northeast and Midwest get a lot of compaction, and there's much, much more rain in our area than you get in areas that are more arid out in the West. So yes, it will work in drier soils. As a matter of fact, that's the reason why we use it, to open up soil to allow any kind of moisture, in particular limited moisture like they get out west, to permeate the soil and keep it loose.
And the second question, can you put too much Magical Plus down?
Well, technically you could, but we tell all of our staff and our associates, you can use Magical Plus up to 3 times a year. And if any of your stores, and we have several that do this, are interested in conducting soil tests in the stores as a service to the consumer, there is a thing called a Kelway meter, which measures soil pH, and it also measures soil moisture. The meter does at a neutral 7, and when you stick it into the ground, you wait a minute, and you'll see in the Chicagoland market that needle will go from 7, and it'll go slightly to the left and keep on going, and you'll know the minute it does that the consumer has an acidic soil. The meters run about $100. We usually provide them, however, for any stores that are interested, for free. So let me know if you want to do that, and you could offer that service to your customers.
Okay, so how early in the season can you put down Magical?
Okay, so Magical could be put down at any time of the year, with any fertilizer or grass seed product. As I said, it could be put down up to 3 times a year. The best time to put it down, however, is in the late spring and summer. When the temperatures get warmer, the biological activity, meaning the bacteria and the fungi, the good bacteria and good fungi in the soil, the microbial activity is a lot more active when the weather gets warmer, and therefore Magical Plus will work faster. It's also interesting to note too, I do a lot of comp shops during the course of the year. Menards is a big competitor of Windy City. And I went into Menards and I looked at a fast-acting gypsum that they had on the shelf. It was fast-acting gypsum. Gypsum, of course, loosens soil. And one bag does about 100 square feet. There are some that do about 1,000, but the ones they were selling did about 100 square feet. You would need about 40 bags of that fast acting gypsum to equal 1 bag of Magical Plus.
That's awesome. How important is the soil temperature when it comes to the first application of fertilizer in spring?
Soil temperature with pre-emergence is not very important. The fertilizer will start acting as the soil temperatures get a little bit warmer. The more important thing with a pre-emergent is just to get it down early so you get the activity of the herbicide, not so much the fertilizer, on the crabgrass seeds and grassy weed seeds that are in your lawn. It is, however, extremely important when you're dealing with grass seed and grass seed germination. You want germination of grass seed will occur when soil temperatures are 55 degrees and higher, which means usually April, mid-April is a really, really good time to start seeding your lawn. But from a standpoint of fertilizer, particularly pre-emergence, it's not very important.
Okay. And you kind of answered this question, but I'm just going to say it again. It asked, when should the Jonathan Green program begin, which you just said, early spring, and what the first step is. What's the first step, which, as you said, is the crabgrass preventer?
Yes. There is a fertilizer wheel on the back of all of our bags. So it's a 4-step program that you can use with our lawn foods and soil foods. And if you just look on the very, very back of the bag, you'll see that wheel. And it starts, of course, with the crabgrass preventer and goes all the way through the fall with the winter survival.
And then they're asking, so you mentioned that there are products for a 4-step application. The question is, do you offer a program such as a 4-step from Scott?
Yes, we do. So our 4-bag program, all of the SKUs to put together a 4-bag program will be in every Windy City Ace store, starting with the crab, going to the weed and feed. Magical Plus is our summer or 3rd step in a 4-step program with Jonathan Green and winter survival. Now, I discussed earlier about our 1-2 bag promotions, primer with the paint. I said that several times. That's the way we're really going to be merchandising our product in most stores this year. In fact, we're creating custom sign kits that say poor soil, poor lawn, great soil, great lawn. And you'll have the seasonal individual bag of fertilizer for that season. So early spring, it'll be the crab, and then the Magical Plus merchandised right next to it on a pallet. That's really the way we want to do it. However, you can put a 4-step program together quite easily with our products.
And then, is Love Your Soil still available as its own separate product?
Great question. As a matter of fact, you could tell a person when they're asking about Love Your Soil has used a lot of our products in the past. Yes, it is. Love Your Soil is still in our line. For some of you who don't know what Love Your Soil is, many years ago, Jonathan Green had Magical, which was a pH adjuster, and Love Your Soil, which was just gypsum. It was a highly, highly concentrated gypsum. And we sold both bags individually. Well, just in 2019, we decided to combine both products into one. And that's Magical Plus, of course. And whenever you do a combination product, you usually lose a little bit of efficacy. For example, a weed and feed, which combines a weed control and fertilizer into one, is usually less potent than a straight weed control product because you're dealing with bag weights. Something's got to be compromised when you do it. So Love Your Soil, in this particular question, yes, is still available in our line, but it's also, from a soil loosening capacity, about 25% stronger in soil loosening than Magical Plus is.
Okay. And then the last question quickly here. How long to seed after crabgrass preventer?
Well, if you're putting down our crabgrass preventer and even Scott's step 1 or ACE's step 1, you're going to have to wait until the fall, because the crabgrass preventer is going to prevent grassy weed seeds like crabgrass from germinating for up to 4 months. But guess what? It's also going to prevent newly sown seeds from germinating as well. If you do want to prevent crabgrass and seed in the spring, you have to use a product called Step 1 for seeding from the Scotts Company. We also have a seeding crabgrass preventer. It's in a maroon bag. It's called Crabgrass Preventer Plus New Seeding Fertilizer. And those two products allow you to seed and prevent crabgrass. But I caution you that the crabgrass control that you get with those type of products is nothing like the crabgrass control that you will get with a Step 1 or a Jonathan Green Up with crabgrass preventer. Tuppersan and the Mesotrione product from Scotts, the Step 1 for seedings, only prevent crabgrass, I'm going to say, for about 6 to 8 weeks. But the idea is that you're seeding with them. So the grass seed will germinate before the crabgrass does, hence crowding out the crabgrass. Your greatest ally against any weed, whether it's a grassy weed or a broadleaf weed, is a thick, healthy turf grass grown in great soil. Because when you have that, you crowd out weeds. And if you do happen to get one or two here and there, you can spot spray them and localize your herbicide rather than blanketly putting it across your lawn.
So a lot of great questions. And we're past our time, but if you could answer this last one quickly. How accurate is the pill-shaped soil tester provided by Jonathan Green?
Okay, they're very accurate. They're talking about the one that sometimes we give them away in the stores to consumers. They're 99 cents, but there's a powder in it, and it measures the pH of the soil very quickly. They're very accurate if you're using distilled water. Distilled water is a neutral pH. It's a pure 7 on the pH scale. So you want to make sure that you're using a distilled water when you're extracting your soil samples throughout your yard. If you use tap water, which oftentimes is alkaline, in some areas it could be acidic, you're going to throw off the true accuracy of the test.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks everyone for coming and listening. I will try to be quick because it's the end of the day. But first off, it's not on the presentation or anything, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew we are SPM Life Science is we're the makers of Bioadvanced and Natria products. We used to be called Bayer. We're no longer called Bayer. Bayer actually sold us to SPM company 5 years ago. So we changed the logo, obviously, but very slightly, just so we wouldn't confuse the consumers, but we essentially confused everyone else. So just making sure everybody is on the same page. If you reach out or somebody saying, who is SPM Life Science? That's, Bioadvanced. That's we used to be Bayer. So we're going to jump right in to the fun stuff, which I don't know why there we go. New weed and feed, new product that we're launching this year is called 5-in-1 Weed and Feed, and it literally does 5 things, and they were the top 5 things that consumers were looking for when they bought a weed and feed. They wanted something that did everything essentially, and we're providing that to the consumers. So this is a replacement for our all-in-one weed and feed. All-in-one killed broadleaf weeds, killed crabgrass, and fed the lawn. This is an improvement on that. So it does all of that, plus it kills broadleaf weeds, it prevents broadleaf weeds, it kills large crabgrass, and it prevents crabgrass for up to 6 months, as well as feeding and greening your lawn. So in preventing, killing the broadleaf weeds, it kills, and we'll get into that in a second, it kills broadleaf weeds, but it also prevents them, specifically, dandelion, clover, chickweed, as well as preventing grassy weeds, and preventing them for 6 months makes it 2 months longer than the best-selling crabgrass preventer on the market. So if for no other reason, it's better because it's a better crabgrass preventer, but it also does all these other things. And It has 25% slow release nitrogen, so it greens for up to 3 months, but it doesn't prevent you from selling additional fertilizer for them to, supplement a few months later. And the reason, so when we have the 25% slow release fertilizer, in order to do that, we use a blended herbicide spray, which is on every single granule. So it's not, so if you look at the granules, some of them are different colors and things like that. Every single granule has all of the herbicide on each one. So when you get coverage, you get coverage to kill and prevent all those weeds everywhere. So this is a comparison slide versus our competitors and some similar products. And you can see how we have more green check marks. We just do more of the things, and we combine them, combine some things to just make it a better overall, more comprehensive product. So one of the things it does, one of the ways it does work better is due to particle size. So size does matter, and being a smaller particle, our particle sizes for the granules is the same size as what they use on golf greens. And when they're smaller particles, that means that we get better coverage. And when you have better coverage, you are going to kill more weeds and prevent more weeds. And you're going to be able to, it's just a better product overall. And that's where we go with the high efficiency formula. That's what we call it, so that we get better coverage in a smaller bag. Our bags are approximately half the size and weight of Scott's Turf Builder Triple Action. And both bags, both the small bag 4,000 square, the 4M bag and the 10M bag, they both have handles on them, which seems like just a small little thing. It's helpful when we did market research. It's just a nice add-on, to pick up the bag, as well as the smaller bag is better for merchandising and holding power on the floor. So a little bit more in depth. I'm not going to go through every single one of these, but to showcase, when you look at the size of the 4,000 square foot bag, it's 9.6 pounds versus every one of those bags is bigger. And the Preen one does 5,000 square feet, and it has similar active ingredients. Our formula, and that's one of the things I'm going to mention more a couple times today, is our formula is what makes our products, superior to others. So yeah, they have similar products in it as ours. Theirs is 18 pounds and it does 5,000 square feet. Ours is 9.6 pounds. It kills more weeds and prevents more weeds than any of the competition. And the price point is essentially a price point below Triple Action from Scott's and just above where you're going to see, your regular weed and feed. For example, like Yellow Bag Turf Builder. And one of the ways, and the formula part is where I'm going to talk about again, is that our formula and the product and the active ingredients we use make the application window much bigger. And that is important because preventing crabgrass and killing broadleaf weeds has a very small window. So with Turf Builder, essentially, the triple action is essentially the active ingredients that are in the yellow bag and the active ingredients that are in their halts that are put together. So what happens is the window is very small for both of those things to work correctly and work, to the level that we want them to work when you use a product. Our application window is more like is longer than a month, as well as ours kills crabgrass. So you can put it down all the way into, June, as long as it's not too hot, not over 90 degrees, and it's going to kill the crabgrass that's already germinated and out there. So, and then it will prevent any additional small germination that happens throughout the year. So application window is much, much larger. So, which means it's easier for the consumer to use and not mess up, because we know they don't read directions. You can also apply this very early. You can apply it down to 50 degrees, which you could apply it very early and use it as a crabgrass, just straight crabgrass and broadleaf weed preventer. If you wait a little bit longer and you extend the activation window, you'll also be able to kill some of those broadleaf weeds and then prevent them as well. So it's applied essentially the same way you would apply, any of these products. Apply it in the morning on dew-wetted lawn, or quick sprinkle of water over your lawn before you put it down. Now, the important thing about reseeding or seeding is you have to wait 12 weeks after you apply this product, to reseed. So you want to use it in the spring, and then you can reseed in the fall. Or if you want to reseed in the spring, you're going to have to wait about a month. You got to wait for a month to 6 weeks. You got to wait for 4 mows before you can start to see the actual grass growing. Okay. And then just like all other weed and feeds, you don't want to put it down if it's going to rain within 24 hours, and you want to, you don't want to water it until it's been on the lawn for 24 hours. Just letting you know, I was going to have a commercial and they didn't have it ready yet, but we're going to be doing TV commercials. We're also going to be doing radio, and we're doing a lot of paid social, paid search. A lot of those are hard for everybody to see, but it actually helps drive a lot of people and millennials to the product. And this product is one of those products that's going to be that it's targeted towards a few different people. The people who want something easy and I don't have to worry about it. It's targeted towards the people who bought the 4-step program in the past, but still have bags left over that they didn't get to use. And they don't want to buy the 4-step program again because because they spend all this money and they didn't get to use all the bags, and they're upset. So they don't know what to do. This is your answer. It's also for those millennials. And, frankly, I have a 3-year-old and a 16-month-old. I don't have time to do a 4-step program and do all this stuff like that. So this thing is perfect for me. I'm super excited about it. We're going to put it down as soon as as soon as the snow goes away on the lawn, which hopefully will be before April, and let it do its work and do all the work for me. So I'm also going to jump into some of the key categories and key products that we have, and just kind of give like a quick little once over on a few of these, so that you can answer some questions for your customers. So most of you should be familiar with our 24-hour grub killer. This is the #1 selling SKU in Chicagoland, and I don't just mean at Ace Hardware. I mean all channels combined. It's #1, period. By far. And it's a rescue formula. So we sell probably 40% at least of this product in September, give or take a couple weeks on either end, depending on weather, right? If it gets colder, it's going to, but it's going to stop earlier. But this is a rescue formula. It's the only product that can be used when you have a grub problem at the end of the summer. Once those Japanese beetles have laid their eggs and the grubs are starting to grow and starting to feed on the lawn and critters are eating up the lawn, this is the only thing that's going to work. You don't want to sell your customers GrubX unless you want them to hold on to it for next year, right? Because GrubX isn't going to work. It's actually a good product. But it has to be used during the time frame that it needs to be used. So it's not going to help in August, September when you have grubs eating up your lawn. This is essentially the only thing that's going to work. So we also sell a good amount of this early, and it dissipates. There is no residual on this product. It's basically, it kills within 24 hours, and it's essentially gone in a few days. So it's going to kill whatever grubs as well as other insects on the lawn, but it's not going to stick around and prevent them for months. But people do use it at the beginning of the season as well. Sometimes prior to putting down the next product, which is our season-long grub that plus turf revitalizer. So this is a competitor to GrubX. Okay, and like I said before, GrubX is a good product. It does what it says it does, right? And it works. The difference between that product and this product is Ours has turf revitalizer, which is essentially a little bit of fertilizer. And we didn't just shove fertilizer in there so we could tell consumers, hey, it's got fertilizer too. It's actually in there for a reason, because it helps the active ingredient work better, and the uptake on the grass and everything like that, it works better. So it will kill the grubs faster and prevent them better. And the other difference being, on the bag for GrubX, it says apply anytime spring through early summer. Okay. Ours, you can apply through late summer. So you can apply it into July, and be confident that it's going to work. And you can tell your consumers that this will work, in July, because once it hits 90 degrees, the GrubX is not going to work. So like come June, that's not going to really help them. When it's like, last June was 90 plus degrees outside at the beginning of the season, beginning of the month. That wasn't gonna, it wasn't gonna be as effective a product as this one, our season-long grub is. It's a longer application window too, so it's easier for your consumers, again, for them to not mess up. So invasive insects are expanding. Our tree and shrub products help treat your trees and your consumers' trees. Emerald ash borer is still around. It's actually spreading across the country. Just because it's been here for a while doesn't mean that we can just say, oh, hey, we're all good. We treated our trees for a number of years with it. We don't need to do that again. That's essentially like rolling the dice. You might be fine one year. You might not notice it, or your consumers might not notice it. So treating your trees is a good way to keep them around, for the long term. There's also big infestations of gypsy moth, the gypsy moth caterpillar. That one does not discriminate. Like the emerald ash borer only likes ash trees. Gypsy moth likes oak trees a lot, but it will eat 200 different types of trees and shrubs. Doesn't care. Japanese beetles, they'll eat a ton of different types of trees as well, and they can help defoliate trees and weaken them and make them more susceptible to disease. So just because some of these other insects don't necessarily kill the tree immediately doesn't mean that they don't make them weaker. Well, first off, they look bad when they're defoliated, but they'll make them weaker and more susceptible to other pests and diseases. And then on the lookout, spotted lanternfly is really nasty and gross and covers trees, and it's really gross, and it's moving. I believe it just made it into one of the counties in Indiana. So that's on the horizon, and we're one of the only products that can actually prevent those. Next. Okay, we are #1 in tree and shrub care. I'm sure you guys know about this. This is one of those categories we created. The 4 on the left are our tree and shrub protect and feed 2. The 2 on the left are just our concentrate versions. It's a quart and a gallon size. The 2 in the middle are our granular. There's really no difference between the 2. It's just whatever people are comfortable with and the application. And the application is extremely easy. It shows you how to measure on the back. Essentially, you take a piece of string, or a rope, wrap it around, and it tells you, wrap it around the tree, and it tells you based on that string how much you need to use of the concentrate that you mix with water, and you drench it around the base of the tree. You don't spray it anywhere, and then you're done. With the granules, you just have to scuff up the ground around the tree, pour the granules around, essentially the same way, based on the measurement, and then you add water, and that's it. And then your tree is protected for a year. It's super hands off. It does take a little while for it to get up to the tree, about a day to 2 days for it to move 1 foot up in the tree. So if somebody has a severe like emerald ash borer problem right then, it might be a good recommendation to have a professional come in. But if people are getting ahead of it, it's the easiest thing for them to go treat their tree and feel good about protecting their trees. On the right is our landscape formula, and that is different. It's a different formula from the 4 on the left. And that landscape formula, there's only a few stores that actually carry it here, but I wanted to leave it on this slide. It's a super concentrate. So our tree and shrub, we have 85% market share. We're the whole thing. And there are other products out there that have imidacloprid. That is one of the main ingredients, active ingredients in our product. However, ours is better for a number of reasons. One of them is the formula, right? I talked about that earlier about our formulas. Our formulas are better basically than everyone else's. And one of the reasons is, those pictures in the top right, those are examples of sediment of some of our competitor products over time separate. Ours does not separate over time. And here's the thing, if consumers actually read the directions, they would shake up the bottle and there would be no problem. We know they don't shake up the bottle. So if they don't read the directions properly, they're not going to get the full amount of the active ingredient, into their drench, into their tree. So it's just not going to work properly. It's not going to work the same way. And there's two other differentiators for our tree and shrub. It says protect and feed on it. So again, it has a little bit of fertilizer in it, not a ton, but just enough to help, again, for the product to the tree to uptake the product faster and better than the other products that do not have fertilizer in them. And lastly, in 2011, we added clothianidin, which is another active ingredient that protects against invasive caterpillars, like the gypsy moth. So ours treat for invasive caterpillars. Our competitors do not. I keep wanting to say, are there any questions? But everybody has to save them to the end. So rose and flower care, this is the other product or category that we are synonymous with. It's a quick thing to kind of say, like, which product goes with, what it controls: insects, disease, mites, spider mites, and some of them also have fertilizer in them. So we are 80% share of this category. We invented it. Outside of just fertilizing your trees, we're the ones who said, hey, let's try to protect our fertilizing flowers. Let's protect them so you can enjoy them instead of having to constantly spray and do all sorts of stuff all the time. We have some of those preventative products as well. I'm not going to read or go into this entire thing. Some of this stuff, it'll be a nice reference if anybody wants to look at it later when I send over the deck. But it's basically broken up into two parts. One is preventative care and one is curative care. Our preventative care products, the gold standard is rose and flower care. Oh, sorry, all-in-one rose and flower care. And we have two different kinds. We have a concentrate and we have granules. There is a little bit of a difference, but overall, they protect against insects, they protect against disease, and they fertilize. And this lasts for 6 weeks. Okay, so you don't. And these are systemic, and these are no spraying. These are just like the tree and shrub. You measure, you mix, and you pour around the base of the plant for the concentrate. You don't spray it. You don't pour it on top of the plant, just around the base of the plant, and then you're done. Again, it takes a little bit. It takes about a day, to move a foot or so up the plant. But you don't have 10 feet tall rose bushes, so they're going to be protected pretty fast. And then you don't have to worry about these things. So this works from the inside out. People are, you might get questions about people being concerned about pollinators. We do have some products that are differentiating, that are non-neonic, but essentially a lot of the science, is misleading on that front, where it and our products do not harm pollinators. What it does is it goes into the plant. So when a Japanese beetle, for example, bites a leaf, it's going to die. If you're not protecting it from the inside out, using our all-in-one rose and flower care, it's going to bite the leaf, say, this is great, and he's going to call over all of his buddies. So it does not actually get into the reproductive part of the plant. It just is in in the leaves and in the stem of the plant. So it's not in the reproductive part. The difference between the concentrate and the granules is that the granules also have that product clothianidin that was in the tree and shrub products. So the granules also protect against invasive caterpillars. The granules work the same way as the other granules for tree and shrub. You have to rough up the ground a little bit around them. You pour the granules on the ground and then you water them in. You have to make sure that they water them in. It's not going to work properly or really at all. It's going to take forever for it to actually get into there if you don't water it in. So that's our flagship, the all-in-one. So it does everything. Next is our 2-in-1 rose and flower care. Same concept. These are granules. Same concept, except for it protects against insects and fertilizes. And it does it systemically from the inside out. So again, it's pour it around the base of the plant, water it in. But it only does insects and fertilizes. We also have a disease care. I didn't put it on here, but it's a disease care is a spray. It's a concentrate that's put into a spray, and that's if you have disease issues with some of your which we get a lot out here because of how much rain we've been getting in maize the past few years. It has made it very damp, very susceptible to fungal diseases. But if you use this, you're not going to have those problems, right? So I don't know what that was. So those are preventative products. This is the curative product. This one is really important for rose and flower products because if you don't know what the problem is, and a lot of times you're going to get a customer coming in and just trying to tell you about the problem without actually having, something real to show you, like, actually, hey, here's a branch from the bush, or here's what the problem is, or they try to show you a really terrible picture on their phone. This is a good catch-all. 3-in-1 insect disease and mite control. It comes in a 24-ounce ready-to-use spray. It comes in a hose end ready to spray, 32-ounce, and it also comes in a concentrate. All right, and the concentrate is you have to mix it with water and spray it. Right, it's not a drench like those other products. But what this does is it protects against it kills and protects against insects, and it will cure and prevent disease. And it will kill spider mites, control spider mites, and it does all that for 30 days. Please be careful. We have 2 different products. We have different products for some of these rose flower care products. So look at the bottle, because some of them will say, some of the products, they do a good job, but some of them will only work for 14 days, and some of them will work for 30 days. Again, it's one of those issues where people are worried about the pollinators, so we have 2 different products just in case people are worried about them. But this is a great catch-all. Again, if you don't know what the problem is, this is a good one to tell your customer about. Hey, try this, and then tell them if you want to prevent that. After you get this solved, use this, so you can sell them 2 products. We also have, if you want to have people to have on hand, a rose and flower care dual action rose and flower insect killer spray. We also have this in a we call it a bag on valve, but it's a fancier sprayer that you can turn upside down. But this will kill insects, and it actually has residual of up to 30 days as well. So this is the curative. When you already have the insects there, this will kill them. Herbicides. We're also up, and we didn't have any innovation last year, and herbicides were up 30-40% with you guys. So this one is unique in the market. There's nothing else like this in the herbicide market except for our season-long weed control. It will kill up over 200 broadleaf weeds, and it's only broadleaf. It's not crabgrass, okay? But it will kill over 200 broadleaf weeds, and it will also prevent them for 6 months. So it prevents the weeds for 6 months. So it's a similar concept as the 5-in-1 weed and feed. It just has different active ingredients. The 5-in-1 weed and feed also kills crabgrass and does crabgrass. This just does broadleaf weeds. It does an excellent job. You can put it down very early when it's, just over 50 degrees, anywhere from 50 to 90 degrees. So you can use it early, you can use it late, but it lasts 6 months. So you're going to want to put it down earlier if you want to reseed in the fall. And you want to make sure, obviously, that they read the directions always, but they have to leave the clippings for at least 2 mows, and leaving the clippings will help keep that active ingredient as a barrier to, to these broadleaf weeds sprouting up again. And this product is great to sell to your customer because all the other ones on the on the wall, just like this one, this is a good product, right? Just like the other ones that are sold by Ortho and all these other ones that kill weeds and crabgrass, this just kills them right there. If your neighbor has tons of dandelions and doesn't really care and just lets all of those things grow and go nuts, it's going to make it over to your yard in a month or two. So you'll have to use this stuff again. If you use this, they don't have to. They put this down, it's going to prevent all those dandelions for, it also kills kills clover, and it kills creeping Charlie. Crabgrass is a big deal out here as well. This is the best large crabgrass killer that a consumer can buy. It kills large crabgrass up to 5 tiller, which is 5 offshoots. Those are gigantic crabgrass, right? So competition, I believe Roundup Crabgrass Destroyer only does 4 tiller, which is still big crabgrass, but ours does bigger crabgrass, so better product so that they can take care of the issue. It's also safe around trees, shrubs, annuals, and perennials. It's only in a hose end, but it's extremely easy to use. And the last one is, I mentioned earlier, all-in-one weed and crabgrass killer. So our formulas, like I mentioned before, I think our formula does a better job than anybody else's. But I can't just keep saying, hey, our formula is better. Our formula is better. There's also a differentiator with the 3 products on the left. The ready-to-use products have something we call Smart Track technology, which leaves a non-staining red marker on your lawn that fades with sunlight. So you're out treating the weeds in your lawn and you're spraying them, spot treating them, and then you turn around and you're like, where did I treat them? When you're using another product, which did I get this one or did I not get this one? I can't remember. Well, with ours, because it's going to have a red spot, and then in a couple hours it's going to fade with sunlight, so it's not going to be, your lawn's not going to be red anymore, but you're going to know where you treated it. And then we also have a hose end and a concentrate of that, but that does not have the Smart Track technology, because that would just be a wholesale, your entire lawn would look red. So and that covers the biggest categories that we have, our differentiators in all those categories, and our new products, and our new product 5-in-1 weed and feed, which we think is going to be, huge.
Well, thank you, Barry. Are you ready for questions?
Yeah, and this is my contact information, Barry Beal. I'm the area sales manager based out of Chicago. I do cover a couple other states, so I'm not here all the time, but I do live in the Chicago area, so I will be around most of the season. That's my email and phone number if you need anything, you have any questions, anything. Thank you.
All right, great. So you have some questions, Barry. The first one is, so you have the 5-in-1, but would you consider making a product that is more targeting for a cheaper cost?
Like how more targeting? I don't,
I guess I'm interpreting it, and whoever wrote it can feel free to chat an update, but I took it as, will you be making something that will be less expensive but just as good?
So I couldn't say, because I'm not in R&D, but I know one of the big things about, we don't want to make a lot of Me Too products. And I know that, you know, one of the big hangups of just getting it into stores and getting you guys to buy a product is like, well, I already have, you know, I have 3 or 4 other weed and feeds. Why should I get yours? Right. So that's why we put together this and our formula and everything like that. So it kind of splits the difference. It's a little bit more expensive than your traditional weed and feeds. You know, like yellow bag, I think yellow bag Scott's is what, like somewhere around $21, I think, normally. You know, ours is going to be a little bit more expensive than that, but not as expensive as some as their flagship triple action. So we're kind of trying to split the difference. So it's kind of right in between there, as well as you guys still sell your private label, and your private label makes you guys some money, right? So if, you know, we wouldn't want to be competing directly with the private label.
Okay. They had asked about the password, Barry. Do you have it, or do you want me to give it out?
I don't.
That's okay.
Have it. I can find it. But...
No. It's weed and feed, which I've heard you
Weed
say
and
about
feed.
1,000 times. So just so you guys know, the password is the word he has said 1,000 times, which is weed and feed. Is the grub control safe for naturalized bulbs in the lawn?
Naturalized bulbs in the lawn. I don't know. Which grub control too? I might have to circle back on that. I'm not exactly sure what that means.
Sue, I don't know if you want to elaborate down here. I can ask him a little bit more. I can elaborate for him if you're able to give me more information, but I'll go to the next question until then. The next question is, how long does the season-long grub last?
Around 3 months, like 12 weeks.
Okay. Someone wanted you to know that Rose and Flower Care Granule is her favorite product.
Well, thank you. It's super easy to use, and that's why I always recommend it. So that's always nice to hear that people use our product who are actually recommending it. So thank you.
Awesome. Will the Rose and Flower Care work on lilac bushes and trees?
Lilac bushes and trees. I'll have to check specifically. I can't imagine. I would imagine it would work on that. Trees, more so we would probably use tree and shrub care. But lilac bushes, I would imagine that would be fine for. I can look up specifically and get back to you guys.
Okay. Will the season-long weed control be okay to use on a hosta?
Season-long weed on the hosta. I don't know. I think that you'd probably try to stay away from that. I know this one's okay. You know, this one specifically, they were telling us that it is safe around everything. So I would imagine they would have told me specifically that this one is not. I have to look into that exactly, but I don't think so. I'd probably, if it's in the way where you're worried about it, I would try to do something where I try to cover it or stay away from that specific area.
The question earlier about the bulbs, she said she's been told that chemicals on the lawn will kill, I'm going to screw this up, crocus and other perennial bulbs.
Okay.
So that's why she was asking, that's to follow up while she was asking if the grub control is safe for naturalized bulbs in the lawn.
Okay. I'm going to have to talk to our R&D people, maybe. I'm not sure. Those are good questions because I haven't heard those before in the past.
Okay. I have 3 rose bushes. There is one that just doesn't seem to grow and it looks like something is eating on the leaves. Is there anything I can put on it?
Well, yeah, you can use the insect disease and mite control because you don't know exactly what it is. That's why I always recommend this is like a good catch-all. If you don't know exactly what the problem is, you can start with that. If you think you know it's an insect, you know, this will help with that as well as spider mites. But you know, you could always try our rose and flower care insect killer products too. Just make sure that you try to get underneath because the insects don't just go on the top of the leaves; they also crawl underneath the bottom of leaves too. So trying to get that underneath as well. But you could also use our all-in-one rose and flower care product because it will take a few days to get all the way through it, but it will try to start to protect it from the inside out, and help cure / protect your roses.
That is, does anyone have any other questions? I know a question that was asked this morning was, how long must you wait to seed since using 5-in-1 prevents crabgrass for 6 months? Does it prevent grass seed for 6 months compared to the other companies, which are 4 months?
Yeah, so we say 12 weeks to wait because by that point, most of the germination of the crabgrass will have it'll have prevented the time period when most of the crabgrass will have germinated. So then you can go, because when you're going to reseed by that point, you're not going to just throw it on top. You're going to do something else to try to like aerate and do that, and kind of mix up the lawn a little bit. You're going to dethatch a little bit, so that'll help stir up those clippings and things like that. So then you'll be able to reseed.